Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radical Democracy Show. I'm your host, Kamali Rose, joined by my guest host, co-host, practically at this point, Kwame Norval from Raised Fist Media as well. And great to have you here, brother. Always appreciate you joining me for these discussions. And so today we're going to be talking about something that has been making the rounds. If you haven't seen it yet, we're going to be going through the a good chunk of the footage of in Maryland. It was Montgomery County in Maryland, where some police officers abused a 5-year-old child, verbally abused, physically at times. And just every adult that you're going to see in this video fails this child immensely. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just play through, and we'll stop it at times, and we'll just kind of give our reactions as we go through it and discuss, because there's so much in here. Honestly, I tried to clip from it and there was just too much to clip. And I just think it's valuable to watch the entire interaction of the cops here. So that's what this is all about. This is we're going to try to do a bit of a deeper dive here on this. And all right, so the situation as we know it is that cops have been called to a school to an elementary school where a 5-year-old child had the child had hit some of his classmates and thrown something at a teacher, and this 5-year-old then walked out of the school building, and there were teachers that were supposedly some of the teachers were following the kid, at least keeping an eye on him, according to the teachers. And so the police get called, and we're going to pick it up from the point that the police now show up to the scene of this incident here.
Warnings.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Content warning. The following video again contains, graphic verbal, child, there's verbal abuse of a child, and that's without a doubt, and some physical abuse of a child. And also there's an ableist slur used in the video that I will try to blank out or avoid, but it may be played, and so I just want to warn about that as well. But I think it needs to be played because it is an important aspect of this that we need to discuss. And so please just, content warning ahead of time for on child abuse, cops, and an ableist slur. Okay. All right, let's check out this video here.
Hey, come here, buddy.
This is one of the cops. There's going to be a male. One of the cops is a man. One is a woman.
733 Silver Spring Ave. What's going on, man?
So this is the child that he sees.
What are you doing?
Avenue 2, George 14, 733 Silver Spring.
What are you doing?
He's already talking to him.
I tell you what.
Really condescendingly.
I got you. Listen to me. How old are you?
5.
5. You feel like you can make your own decisions? Huh? You feel like you can do what you want? Are you an adult? Are you 18? So why are you outside of school? Look at me. Why are you out of school? Why do you have people following you? Huh? I don't care if you don't want to go to school. You do not have that choice. You understand?
Just hostile from the jump. Where a minute. Listen to him.
Now.
Like a dog.
Don't make me take you over there.
No record of that takedown.
Okay.
Now he grabs them already, so he gets physical with them because he didn't do as he was told immediately. It's 5 years old.
I want you to listen very clear.
The kid is coughing.
Any decisions for yourself, unless somebody is trying to hurt you. Now, is somebody trying to hurt you?
You, literally.
Right.
King
So he says you don't make any decisions for yourself unless somebody's trying to hurt you. Is somebody trying to hurt you? And like Kwame said, literally you are grabbing him by his hand. He, as soon as you grabbed him by his arm like that, he started crying. So as far as he knows, some big guy, you know, or big person just showed up and started yelling at him or talking very hostile towards him, and then grabs him by his arm.
And you're being generous here. You're being generous here because if he's had the talk, then he already knows that as a young black child, he should be afraid of the police officers showing up and Tamir Ricing him. So,
yeah. And how old was Tamir Rice again, though? Tamir Rice was what, like 7, I think, or how old was Tamir Rice?
I thought he was like 12.
Okay, older, even older, right?
He was like 12, 13.
Like, this is a 5-year-old. Like, I just need everybody to keep that in perspective. This is a 5-year-old child. All right. So, I mean, there's, you know, that's barely, you know, they barely got out of being a toddler. All right. So 5-year-old child here that we're talking about.
Got it. I got it.
3,
Yeah.
8, 5, 8,
Yeah.
Robert, 2.
You got it right.
3.
In some of this video, I've sped through parts of the video. I wanted to let it, you know, play without a bunch of cuts to it, but some of the parts of this video that were just are walking and nothing's going on. There's no interaction between the cops and the child. I've sort of sped him up. So at times you're going to see the video sort of fast forwarding ahead. I'll provide a link to the original video on YouTube, which you can find, you know, again, available on YouTube. All right, so let me keep playing here.
Come on. Cut it out.
And the kid is crying already.
Cut it out. Cut it
yelling.
out.
I'm riding with you. We're going back.
This is the teacher, the white woman is the teacher. Says that she's going with him back to school. This part, they're just going and bringing the kid to the car. And you can see how
now.
You can see how he's talking to him.
Get in the car.
I'm going with you. Let's
Oh,
go.
we're gonna have problems. Don't worry about it.
Get in, or we gonna have
Don't
problems.
worry about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You better stop.
Just
Stop.
yeah.
You better cut. I don't care. You don't make that decision for yourself.
You don't make the decision for yourself where you want to go.
That is not
He doesn't
your
feel
child
safe
to
with
be-
these people.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Why
feel
would
safe
he?
with these people. He doesn't. Do 5-year-olds know what cops are enough to know? Okay.
And again, if they
There,
do,
he's-
that may still be a case for them to be more afraid.
yeah,
If
absolutely.
anything.
Absolutely. And here he finally asks if about the kids potentially having special needs.
Hit what? Is he special needs?
And I can't quite make out what the teacher responds, but it's not a clear response. She says, well, and it sounds like she says maybe possibly unofficially. I can't quite catch
Even
what
with the
says.
captions on, that part was unclear.
Yeah. So yeah, and I can actually, if maybe I should throw up captions on here as we do this too. But if you need captions, you can just add captions to your screen. I don't want to double them up on screen here on YouTube.
Yeah.
So just cleaning out the seat of the car. Look at, I mean, this kid's still crying.
Oh, my life if I tried to do some stuff like that. I would have been beat 9 times before I got home.
So here he's already saying if I had done something like that, I would have been beaten 9 times by the time I got
Nobody
home.
want to hear that.
Telling the kid,
Ain't nobody even listening.
this is how he responds to a child crying.
Because you don't get to do what you want to do. This ain't your world.
Yeah, you got to have a badge to do what you want to do.
Yep. Like, this is a 5-year-old. Whatever he did, it's like it's the fault of his parents at this stage. What is he responsible for?
Get out of the car.
too?
Get out. Now. Get out of the car. Now.
I just let me just go.
Because you're making your situation that much worse for you. When you get home, your mama's going to have something to say to you. Okay? I'm going to talk to your parents too. You know why? Because you bad. Now get out.
Tells the kid, you're bad. You're
Get
a
out.
bad kid. You're just bad.
All right,
Come.
come on.
We're going in.
You're just a bad human being. You're a bad person.
You got to be joking me right now. You got to be joking.
I mean, how do you
says
learn that type of behavior at 5?
That's the female cop talking about, you know, you got to be kidding me. You got to be joking with me. And yeah, and you know, she's already, you know, they're already out here like talking about how if it was them, they'd have gotten beat, you know, they would have gotten their, you know, whooped and beaten by their parents if they acted out. And now mind, like, this is a 5-year-old kid, like they're acting out in school. Whatever the response is, you would want somebody that's going to respond in a nurturing, kind, caring way, because that's a child that's obviously, if they've done anything wrong, it's because they've picked up bad behaviors from the adults that they're around up to this stage. Like, what is a 5-year-old? What do they know other than what they've learned from the human beings that are around them, that are entrusted with their care? And so anything that they,
if not that, like, they may be being bullied, there may be something going on at home, like they said, they're unclear. I would wager to guess, because of medical racism, that Black people are probably disproportionately underdiagnosed when it comes to different situations. So yeah, maybe the kid may have a behavioral issue that is undiagnosed, you know, and for them to ask that, like, that's very telling, because he's basically like, is he special needs? Because, like, if he's special needs, then I'm not going to treat him like a dog. But if he's neurotypical, then all bets are fucking off. Then he's no longer a human being. He's just bad, and I need to berate him and treat him like trash.
Exactly, which it would be.
I was gonna say treat him like a criminal, but criminals don't deserve to be treated that way either.
Absolutely not. No human being deserves to be treated like that. No human being, and especially a child.
I would challenge, the only human beings that deserve to be treated that way are the perpetrators that are doing that right now in this video. They're the only people that deserve to be talked to with such disdain and disgust and be belittled and dehumanized this way. The only people who deserve it are these two assholes with badges and this certified snitch that freaking called them on this freaking 5-year-old.
Yep. All right, so let's keep playing it out so that people can see.
I don't want no parts of Cold World.
Okay, see, this is why people need to beat their kids.
This is why people need to beat their kids.
That's why people need to beat their
That's
kids.
the female cop.
Here. I have my thing on.
So she said that's why people need to beat their kids. This is why people need to beat their kids. So this is the female cop. This is the person that's entrusted to protect and serve here, saying this is why people need to beat their children. And again, at worst, this kid, what he's done is, hit another one of his peers, another 5-year-old, and try to or potentially hit an adult, right? And so again, this is behavior that they're picking up, they're learning somewhere, and the response to it has to be something that is a caring one, and tries to is concerned with the well-being of the child, right? And you don't have to treat any child of this age like a criminal. Like, no kid should be treated like a criminal at this age. And so the first response, if this was not a cop, you tell me how you think a therapist or a social worker or a psychologist would have responded to this situation. So as we go through this, try to keep that in the back of your mind. Like, compare the cop's behavior to the behavior of a trained professional, somebody that's trained to work with children, because this is what they're being tasked with, is the care in the safety of children right now. And so
speaking on people trained to work with kids, these teachers or their social workers, I'm not sure who this lady is. I believe it's his teacher, one of his teachers, someone from the school. They should lose their job too. Like 1,000 should not be working with children at all, that they let any of this carry on. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just-
And I don't think that anything necessarily up to this point says that, though. Like, I don't think that anything up to this point,
I might be jumping.
really,
I might be jumping the gun, unless
yeah.
they called them. You know, because I think that in and of itself.
Yeah, because
was,
the teachers, I believe it had to be the teachers that called the cops.
Yeah.
Really, because who else? And I've speculated, like, that's what I've been speculating, like, who called the cops on? Because why did cops need to be called on a 5-year-old child? Like, what was the situation where you needed to call police on a 5-year-old child? That, like, whoever you call it, the last thing it needed to be was cops on a 5-year-old black child. By the way, you know, like, that is the abhorrent. And these are people that, again, what level of training do they have? You're gonna see how they treat kids. All right, so let's play this. Let's keep playing this. I'm gonna try to get through as much of the video as we can. This is them getting to the school. So they just brought the kid back to the school.
Yeah, the thing don't come back.
What I'm going to do is we're going to have you.
Know what? Sit down.
2008 Cadillac.
Sit down.
Yeah, look at that. Now he picks them up. So it picks them up. And now something bumped there, and the kid starts screaming louder.
Shut that noise up now.
And then they start screaming.
Your mama let me beat
I hope your mama let me beat you. Wait, watch when his head gets lifted up, and he starts screaming on it. Maybe his head got banged.
Shut that noise up now. Your mama let me beat you. I'm gonna wait.
The female officer.
If y'all want to talk to him,
He can sit here yelling because won't nobody beat him. So she's claiming that the only reason that he's yelling is because he's not being beaten enough. So the reason that he's upset right now, she is diagnosed already. It's because he's not being beaten enough. That's the problem with this child, is that any outbursts he's having, any, you know, this display of emotion here, this clear display of pain and sadness and sorrow, it's because people aren't beating him enough to shut him up. All right, so
They're gonna get on the phone and see.
ain't nobody listening.
Yo,
pause it.
yo.
I need to say, as someone, as y'all know, I come from Raised Fist Media, entertainment. Horror movies are my thing. I've watched a lot of horror movies, and the thing that really chills me about this is this triggers something like so deeply in me of like times watching movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and other horror movies like that, where someone is being tortured and they cry out in pain, and the monster usually gets in their face and screams back and goes, you know, scream as loud as you want. No one can hear you. That is exactly how I felt watching that. How I felt watching that scene of her screaming back in his face like that.
Yeah, look, you call it a scene because it feels like something out of a horror movie. Like it does really feel like an act of a horror movie. Like
I just
which human being responds well to being screamed at like that in their face like that? What human being in the world? So far, all this kid did was like be outside. That's all they know about, really. Like they don't really know all the details of what's going on here. And so you know, that's all that they can confirm, at least, is that the kid was outside, and that's where they found the kid. And
because honestly, you can't again, with racism being what it is and teaching, you know, Black kids are disproportionately sent to the principal's office, disproportionately disciplined. So, like, you maybe don't even take the teacher at their word when you show up and they say that they're acting out to that degree. Like, before you start, I don't know, condemning this kid to damnation and wishing physical abuse on them this way. You know, like, they just showed up from jump. And from jump, they were already antagonistic to this child. And
absolutely.
also, like, this is where I'm getting to the point where fuck this teacher. Like, before any of this went down, she's just sitting there with her arms behind her back, not trying to console this child, nothing. So what if this kid hits you? Like, if this is the teacher that got hit by this kid, you need to lose your job if a child hitting you is enough for you to just not care. Like, you know, like, this is what, like, my wife does this for a living. Like, her kids hit her, bite her, scratch her, all of that, and you know, rolls with it and right back to caring with them and trying to find what to help them with. All right. Absolutely. And as she just lackadaisically sits there with her arms behind her back as these two fucking terrorists fucking antagonize and terrorize this child in front of us.
Yo, I'm telling no kid that has a totally healthy, you know, safe upbringing does this sort of stuff. You know, there's something else going on that this kid is being traumatized by.
And even if it's not, again, it may be something that's neurological. They may have, you know, they may have some invisible illness where they have like a stomach issue that they're constantly in pain or discomfort. Like, there are reasons that kids act up. Kids cry for a reason. They don't just cry to cry. So, like, if your response is to beat them, then all they learn from that is to hide that and bottle that up. Because adults aren't safe for me to tell my issues and my pain to. Because they'll fucking beat me or call the cops on me.
In the course of less than an hour, we will see every reason this kid has to never trust ever again any adult, any authority figure, or they're setting him up to be victimized in a way. We'll see, because of how they continue to, you know, continually gaslight him and reinforce these really, you know, horrendous you know, ideas and ideals and it's scary stuff here. So let me and like you said, this teacher standing by, like, and keep in mind, like, the other thing is, like, these are black cops, so there's none of the, like, oh, the cops are individually racist. Like, nobody's claiming that these cops are just racist against this kid like that. Is there institutional racism at play here? Absolutely. You know, that plays out here. Absolutely.
Internalized racism, because I mean, if you can't have the conversation about people beating their children, especially black people beating their kids, and not tackle on, you know, the internalized racism that comes from that type of, like, that kind of punishment. This, you know, but you got two black cops here with this black kid, and you got the white teacher here who is now just, you know, who we believe is exactly is just standing idly by as these two cops verbally assault, you know, verbally abuse this child, and in physically in some ways, because of when they touch, you know, when they put their hands on him. I just don't think that you're a mandated reporter. You're a mandated reporter. You need to, like, you should be immediately asking these police the second that cop started yelling in that kid's face, they both should have been dismissed from the grounds. Like, no, we don't need you anymore.
Exactly.
We'll be in touch. And then you report their ass. And if not, your ass needs to be reported with them. I hope y'all all lose your job. I would never wish, like,
children aren't safe around you
to anybody, but none of y'all should have any job ever where you interact with people ever a goddamn again.
No, it's like they've already decided that this child is not worthy of protection and safety. Like, they've already determined that as a 5-year-old, if you as a 5-year-old weren't taught, you know, better by all your influences, and you go and hit another kid at 5, which I think a 5-year-old, I'm sorry, but I don't have kids, but I'm pretty sure, you know, I've seen enough kids growing up that I know that just about every kid at 5 is still figuring out, you know, when is it right to hit
fighting,
people, because
all
you
that.
see fighting and physical, you know, activity in media and everything. It plays over and over in video, you know, in movies, in the news, in video games, in everything. It's talked about in music. So we see people being physical with each other. Kids are learning all the rules of what is okay touching, what is bad, you know, what's good touching, what's bad touching,
rough housing, what's past that, like.
Absolutely. So kids are gonna err on in these sorts of ways or whatever. And so you just have to, like, this is not behavior but they've already decided that that now justifies this kid not being deserving of their protection from further danger, further abuse. They've already dehumanized him and devalued his life in that way, where to them they've disassociated themselves with this kid, and they're not seeing him as a full human being. Because if they were really seeing him as a full human being, the way that they might see their own child in him, that's where I think that if it's a white kid, likely goes differently here, because with the teachers being white, you just likely
just for the teachers. Yeah, I think that if it was a white kid, actually no, the cops probably would be too afraid to talk this kind of smack about a white kid. Like, realistically, they would be too worried about the repercussions to ever fix their lips to say anything like this about a white child.
Yeah, unless of course it's a particularly poor white person who they know is in the community, and they know has no recourse. Like there are poor white folks that are going to experience some things that that black folks at all levels are liable to experience, but they definitely are even there's some poor white folks out there that are going to get some of that from cops and in the rural areas and all that sort of shit. And so it's not to say, so if you're white, it's like this can and does happen to white folks as well. It just happens more to black kids is all. And that, that's the only issue there, but it happens to everybody, and it can happen to anyone. And that's why we all should be outraged by it and not look at it as just like, oh, well, it's only happened to the black folks, so I don't really got to worry about it. This is that school to prison pipeline. We are watching a full just live video of how that works now.
Yeah. Of how you make that happen.
Yeah. So let's keep playing this out. I rewound it back to where the teacher is going to scream in this child's face.
No, the cop.
Oh, sorry, not the teacher. The cop is going to scream in this child's face, and just put yourself in that child's shoes and try to have empathy with this kid, and just think about which full-grown adult responds well to this kind of treatment, much less a child.
Ain't nobody listening.
That's
fucking monster.
That's sick. So these cops are angry with this kid, apparently, for not having good, proper emotional regulation at age 5. They are angry enough to say this kid deserves to be beaten because he's not showing proper emotional regulation as a 5-year-old. And does this look like proper emotional regulation to anyone? Like, look at how they are, they're responding. You can't be asking a 5-year-old to show emotional control when you, a grown-ass adult who has carries a gun and is given all this responsibility in our society, don't have the capability of showing emotional control towards a 5-year-old. You're like, I can't do it, and you're screaming back louder than the 5-year-old is screaming, mind you, in their face. The 5-year-old didn't climb up in your face and tauntingly, antagonistically scream at you. He was just a crying child. At no point have they asked him, are you okay? What's, can I help? Is something, what's wrong? Yeah. That should be the level of intervention going on right now. It's like, let me make sure this kid's okay and that they're safe and that they're not experiencing some other trauma somewhere else. That's the kind of intervention you would think from somebody sworn to protect and serve. All right. So, yeah.
How would you do this? Oh my God, I beat him so bad. How would we beat him?
Oh my God, I would beat him so bad. Just threatening the kid.
Oh my God, you would not embarrass me like this at school.
Talking about you won't embarrass me like this at school. I'm gonna beat you because you embarrass me. Like, just the idea that it's embarrassing for a 5-year-old to cry. They're fucking 5, dude. They're gonna fucking cry. Like, me, a grown-ass man, might fucking cry sometimes. Like, I do, and
I cry watching My Hero Academia. All right? Like, I cry over ridiculous shit these days.
The idea that a 5-year-old should just stop crying on command, sorry, buddy, but it's your fucking job as an adult, being put in a position of authority over children. It's your fucking job to know how to handle a child crying and to be able to accept that and recognize that a child might just cry indefinitely and it can cry and cry and cry. Or what are you going to do? Oh, well, that baby just wouldn't shut up, so I had to shake him.
Yeah. What's the age? What is the age that is the cutoff point for like? Oh nope, you're 3 years old in 55 days. Now, if you cry, I'm gonna scream at you. And 2 days ago, I would have checked to make sure that you're okay. But now I'm going to threaten to beat you?
Yeah, exactly.
These people are monsters. They shouldn't just lose their job. They should lose their own kids. Because they're just easily. For real. Go check on their kids.
You should have to have a no, I'm not dead ass, but obviously, their license to procreate should be revoked. Their societal license to procreate should be revoked. Like, these people shouldn't be able to have children, have their own offspring until they at least complete a course as determined by the people. If we unless and until that time, these people do not deserve to have any kind of authority over children.
I pray that when this video hit, that they were ran out of town. I hope they should have to move. They should have to leave their home because they should be followed and ridiculed every step by the community, because we're a community. We got to look out for each other. You can't do this to a kid, one of my friend's kids, or damn near not my kid, and not have, like, every person in this community should be at their job every day until they're fired. They shouldn't. They should feel as unsafe as this kid did every moment that they're out there.
Absolutely,
because this is disgusting. This is disgusting. Like, I see the comment that they shouldn't work with kids. They shouldn't work with humans in general. This is
because if you treat a child like that, imagine what you'll do to an adult who you don't see as more precious and vulnerable. Imagine what you would do to help
and somebody suffering from addiction.
Absolutely,
a homeless person.
These cops need to have all of their cases reviewed. This happened in January 2020, not 2021, 2020. This happened a year ago. The thing is, the body camera footage just got released today. So that's over 1 year later. We're talking about 14, nearly 15 months later, that we're just now seeing body camera footage of this incident. And these cops are still on the force as far as we know. Nothing has happened to them. They still got their jobs, never lost a day's pay, never got reprimanded in any way. Nobody even filed the complaint here for against these cops. So let's, failure at every level.
Actually, no, I think the mother is suing.
Okay, now. Okay, good.
It's now suing. Yeah, the mother's suing now.
Okay, yep. Now and that's the sick thing. That's wild. If that's true, I need you know that you confident, you verify it.
Yeah, I'll pull it
if you have to. If the mother is suing now, I just want you to keep in mind, watch the mother's behavior throughout this, and you tell me if the mother really has a leg to stand on as far as suing. That's the sad thing, is that when she sues, all that does is take money from the public to give to this one person who doesn't know how to care for this child already. And we'll show throughout, we'll see the mom come in eventually, and she shows that she also needs to learn a lot. Not that she necessarily needs to have her child taken away, but she definitely doesn't deserve to be, to be empowered more and be given more power over this child, which providing her more money, honestly, in this situation.
And I was going to bring this up later. The only thing I could think of is if, like, she also knows that the cops are, like, corrupt and terrible human beings, so she's just lies wants to get at her and her kid out of this situation. If I'm being generous, maybe that's the only thing
that'll be the most
think of. It's like she was in a almost hostage situation and said what she needed to say.
That is the most generous reading of this. We'll see. That will be the most generous reading of this woman. Boy. All right, we'll keep powering through here.
Breaking up computers? What? Oh, they can destroy property. He done broke a
she's concerned about the kid saying he destroyed property, he broke up computers. So she's like, oh, he destroyed property. This kid, he's just bad.
The kids with a clipboard.
When a kid's with a clipboard, that's the extent. It's called. She's saying, he said he's a violent little thing, and she says until pow, that's like the Ralph, whatever the hell, honeymooners dude, one of these days, one of these days, Alice or whatever, one of these days, boom, pow, right to the moon,
again, like we'll have probably at some point a longer form conversation on like spanking your child, but like that is a
no, we gonna have that conversation tonight. We gonna have that conversation tonight.
That is a reoccurring theme in this, and it just needs to be stated because they've already stated it. The asshole number one, male asshole, already stated it about beating their child and saying, "Oh, I would have been beat for this." Like people often say, like, "I was hit as a kid and I turned out fine." You did not turn out fine. This is what you turned out like. You're a monster. All right. Yeah. So I never want, anytime someone says I was beat as a child and I turned out fine, look at these upstanding human beings who have turned out from being beat as a child and now want to beat a 5-year-old.
And the wild thing is that the only people that ever make that argument are the people that still believe in beating your child. They're using it as an argument as to why it's okay to beat your child. And the reality is inherently in that is that you grew up to be the kind of person that thinks it's okay to beat your child. So case in point, heretofore, you are a terrible person, so you are not the kind of person that I want to be perpetuating in society. And so if we're talking about living, giving people true liberty and not protecting people, vulnerable populations from being abused, like we definitely want to be protecting kids. And we all, for everyone that's like, oh, you're, they always like point to the kids and they're like, you got to protect the kids and doing it for the kids. And, they're pro-life supposedly. And then it's like, here they are, and where's the concern over this child's welfare by any of these adults? All right. So I'll keep powering through. Violent little thing.
Pick up the pieces of that keyboard, go right to that button.
They're saying that he would pick up pieces of the keyboard, and it would go right into that. He said, I forget what he said, but he's essentially said that he would be throwing. He intimated that he would be throwing these pieces of a keyboard that the kid broke. He would be throwing those pieces of a keyboard at the child.
I thought she said right into his throat.
No, I think she says right into his butt, but let me see. We'll pull it back a little bit here and hear them out again.
Pick up the pieces of that keyboard, go right to that button.
Yeah, he said go right into that butt.
I'm telling you, he couldn't sit in that chair.
She said, I'm telling you, he couldn't sit in that chair, saying that because he said he hit him with the piece of the keyboard that he broke in his butt until he couldn't sit in a chair. She's saying. So they're now sitting here like fantasizing about the ways that they would abuse this child, the ways that they would physically assault this child because he broke property, because he did harm to a piece of property. Their response is to respond with violence from a larger, more powerful human being. They're teaching them, if you harm objects, material objects, then you deserve to be abused by an adult. You deserve to have violence enacted upon you by an adult.
And this sitting here taunting the child and talking about how they want to abuse him, just again, as the resident horror movie expert, as someone who has grown up, lived, eat, slept, and breathed horror movies, if I dim the lights on this and put a little haunting background music, people would call to have this banned because they would not want to watch a horror movie where a kid was tortured like this.
Yeah, it feels like a snuff film.
People can still work literally having done it.
Crazy. It makes
Fox
no sense.
News would be the first people to try and get this movie pulled down.
Oh yeah,
All right?
absolutely.
If a horror movie director, if Eli Roth made Hostel 5, the high school, the junior high middle school edition, the kindergarten edition, where adults torture children, they would want that banned.
Yep, absolutely.
But we can pay their checks to do it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. They'll defend cops to the death, and they're right to be infinitely funded in order for for them to have because apparently, and this is the thing, and that's the thing with cops. Like, I don't want any human being to have to bear the responsibility. Nobody is equipped for both being somebody that's going to fight against violent crime and be the same kind of person that's going to be able to care for vulnerable children in need. It's the kinds of jobs that it's not the same skill set. So that's a very rare occasion that somebody's going to be good at.
Teachers have to learn how to do that stuff, and they don't even get it right half of the time, because you get teachers like the ones in this video. So
exactly.
If the people who are literally their only focus can't do it right half of the time, what hope do you have? Dude,
yeah, absolutely. As somebody that's barely, just this is like a side thing that happens every once in a while to you. It's an occasional thing, and so you just don't have the experience and the skill set for it. And and the thing is, it's like I don't want. This is why we say to defund the police, to put that money into other services, because it's not right to ask any person, to bear that responsibility. Nobody could properly bear that responsibility, and nobody should have to bear that responsibility. And so it's not some I hate those individual people as cops. If they want to be people that help kids, we'll have a job for that. And it's not the kind of job where you carry a gun and where you're trained to kill and harm and maim other human beings. You're taught to care for people and nurture people. So it's not like I'm saying I don't want these people to have a job or whatever the case is. It's just hey, this is too much for any person to bear, and nobody should have to take on all that.
Yeah,
there's no amount of money you could pay somebody to be able to bear that. And so
when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So
yep. All right.
Wouldn't be able to sit down nowhere. That noise.
Man, the crying. I don't know how that crying doesn't get to them. For them to feel empathy. And the kid's coughing too. There's a potential for him to have I don't know if they had not asked about, does he have any asthma or any condition? Also, well, luckily this is January 2020, so we're not in we don't know that COVID is circulating, but COVID is circulating in January 2020 in the US. Reports say that we got the first cases likely happened as early as November or December in the US. And so we just hadn't diagnosed it as such yet. So this is, this kid is potentially, spreading, spreading COVID here, but or sick with something like that. And nobody's asking about his health or anything like that.
I wish you would slap that phone out of here. Sit down.
Okay, so this escalated really quick, so I'm gonna show you where.
No, wish you would. I wish you would.
So the mother calls here. The mother calls, and the teacher brings in a phone because the mom's on the phone. So when the mom comes in here, the kid brushes the phone. He slaps the phone away.
I wish you would slap that phone out of here. Sit down.
And do you see how the kid cowers in fear? Look at how the kid cowers when the cop runs over to him.
I wish you would.
Look at him.
I wish you would slap that phone out of here. Sit down. Sit down.
5-year-old.
No.
Look at him.
You better listen to me. You are mad rude. You understand? Your mom's gonna talk to you. She's on the phone. Hear what she has to say. Sit down.
Just
say something.
Say something.
I know. This is Officer Chris from County Police, by the way.
And now he just look at how he changes up his whole tone. Did you notice how he's able to talk to the mother? This is detective or officer, whatever the hell he says, Christian or Chris or Kristen, and he says that in a completely different tone than what he just said. From how he's screaming at the child. Listen to how he treats the adults.
Say something. Hi, ma'am. This is Officer Chris from County Police, by the way. Your mom's talking to you.
Hello?
He can hear you.
He can hear you. It's right next to him. He's refusing to speak.
Yes. Calm down, Doodle. Mommy coming, okay?
Sit down. Do you hear your mother talking to you? Do you hear your mother talking to you?
This kid cries for like 10 minutes
Open
straight.
your mouth and say something back.
Listen to him, he's choking, and they're like,
Your mother's talking to you. Respond.
Doodle. Calm down and stop crying. You're gonna make yourself sick.
you're gonna make yourself sick. Like, even now, like things get far worse, but she's still, even from the jump, it's like, you're gonna make yourself sick. And it's not him making himself sick. You know, if anything, again, it's just like, it's on you. It's your fault if you get sick. When it's like, no, it's these cops, like, you know, stressing you, putting you through all this emotional trauma that's what's gonna make you sick.
You better stop trying to get off this seat. Stop it. Stop it. Holiday, can you watch him real quick?
He asked the other cop to watch the kid real quick. And I just want you to really pay attention here, because you're going to hear that the kid is crying, and he's crying at one level throughout. And so this child is crying, and then listen closely after the cop walks away and goes off camera, after asking his partner, Holiday, who is the other cop there, he asks her to watch the kid and remember how hostile she's been towards the kid, and then just listen to the kid's reaction off camera when after the male cop walks away, after asking her to watch him here. Okay. So he walks away.
Yeah, hold on 1 sec.
Listen to him. You hear him scream like that all of a sudden? He was
Hello.
he was crying at one level, and then listen.
Yeah, hold on 1 sec.
He starts screaming at the top of his lungs.
Because they left him alone with her.
Yeah, she might have physically done something to him at that point. He's still crying this whole time. The cop is walking away, talking to the mom, just, you know, saying basic stuff about where she's at. And
When I said we'd like you to come to the school, what happened? She goes, really? Right.
this is the teacher shit talking the mom a bit here. So you'll see how they all point fingers at all of each other until each one of them is in the room, the adults, and they never place blame on another adult that's in the room. They always blame whatever adult is not in the room. In the one thing that they can all agree on is that this child is a terrible, horrible human being and deserves everything bad that happens to him. That's the only thing that they can all agree on. But this is the white teacher, saying how the mom, essentially like shaming the mom for being a working mom who, when the teacher called and said, you need to get down here, the mother said, oh, really? Like, because she's at work, and we'll find out she says later that she works a hourly wage job, and she's just, she's a working class mom, single mom. And so of course it's troubling to have to, it's difficult and it's risky for you to have to leave work to go pick up your kid in the middle of the day, and it puts you at risk of losing your job. So it's a very reasonable thing to ask, is it really necessary for me to leave to come do this? There's seriously nobody on staff. That's what you trust these people with every day. We put our trust in these teachers, that they're going to be able to, take care of these kids for the time that they're their supervisors. So I don't think it's a crazy thing for the mother to say, but you can see how they she's essentially just shit talking the mom.
I said, yes, I want you here now.
You know that's coming with me, right?
The cop's cracking jokes about a cupcake on the table. So he's cracking jokes with the teachers, but just look at the way that he treats the child versus the way that he treats these other people.
No.
There's no respect for this child as a human.
On the floor, just went, because
They're concerned about the.
He asked for a snack, and she said, sit down, I'll get it for you. On the floor.
No.
She's using a plastic thing as a shield. No. Took $1,000 computer.
$1,000 computer she's worried about that he did damage to.
He asked for a snack, and she said, sit down, I'll get it for you.
Oh,
Says all because
you
he
don't get no whooping.
That's because you don't get no whooping. All because he asked for a snack. She says this all happened because he asked for a snack, and the teacher said that the teacher told him to sit down and wait while he got it for her. And she says that then escalated to this. Yep. Say what? Yep.
We don't know, just because like the mother is working and whatnot. Again, usually when kids act out, especially when they act out around asking a snack, it's because they're hungry. Lots of kids don't eat because of their home life situation and their financial situation, other than what they get to eat at school. So, guys,
we're gonna circle back to that, because we're gonna hear from the mother directly about this issue later in this video. At the end of this video, the mother actually talks about the child's eating situation, and I'm telling you, it is. Please stick around till that point. I hope that you will stick around. This is so crucial. Please stick around and wait till you hear about this child's nutrition. Okay. And you tell me if you might not have been a misbehaved child given their nutritional situation. All right. So that's very important. The fact that you noted that potential for somebody acting up around the issue of not being able to get a snack. Let me tell you something. Well-fed kids aren't getting angry. Typically aren't going to get angry over not getting a snack. You're full. You're not hungry. You're not going to throw a tantrum over not getting a snack, right? So great point, Kwame, and you actually honed in on that in a way that I didn't early on here. So great point.
And that's even just forgetting what I know, having watched this video through. That's just something that I've picked up, again, because of the profession that my wife is in, and the different people that she's worked with in her past, and reading up on kids who are homeless and go to school. That is why the whole thing about lunch debt is such a wild and gross thing, because kids cannot learn properly if they're hungry, and that is why kids who have food issues or may not have guaranteed food tend to suffer or more in school, tend to not be able to focus, have worse grades, or act out.
You show me an adult that can focus at work without eating all day. You show me an adult that can get
a whole campaign based on it. All right, like hangry is a whole thing. I'm pretty sure Webster added hangry to the dictionary within the last 10 years, and if not, they need to, because that's real, actual, factual. You get mad when you are hungry.
Yep. Absolutely. And you cannot, you can't focus, you can't concentrate, it's harder to get work done. Your grades end up suffering, your behavior ends up slipping, you run the risk of misbehaving because you're just hungry, and an adult doesn't recognize that and have the compassion to just say, oh, why is that upsetting you so much that you're not able to eat immediately? Maybe it's that this kid is feeling serious hunger pains and is too ashamed to talk about it, and because he's not taught proper what is proper safe communication, and he's being told by adults that are supposed to be protecting him that if you do the wrong thing, you deserve to be beaten. So that's a kid that's not going to be very willing to say the wrong thing, to guess, to be able to open up and share their feelings and their emotions, because they're being taught that if you do it the wrong way and you don't know what the rules of what's right and wrong yet at 5 years old, the consequence for that might be physical abuse. It's just not a good risk reward system there. It's safer to just do nothing and to not say anything. And, at least in the short term, it's safer. In the long term, we know all the damage that can cause for a child and developmentally. All right. So let's just keep it moving through.
You don't get no whoopings. None of these kids get whoopings.
It's because you don't get no whoopings. Now look at her. Look how she responds to him.
No, baby. No.
And he said, no, baby. No. Which is interesting. I don't know if these two cops are in a relationship together, which is also like very interesting, but that's a weird way to refer to your professional partner. as no baby, no. As he's like slapping her on the shoulder. And the thing is, like, look how she responded to, like,
but like I feel like that's especially like Midwest, South Midwest, like they call people baby, like you know, come on, baby, like even if it's like I hear
suppose
dudes call other dudes baby that they're not intimate with.
All right, I'll take it. Kwame,
like,
I'll take it. I'll allow it.
I think that might be a local.
All right, I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass.
Maybe.
And all that noise and stuff? Oh, it couldn't be mine. It couldn't be mine. No, he's not, because I'm not going to let him. You ain't going to sleep today.
You ain't going to sleep. She's talking about depriving the child of sleep.
She's they're saying no. He just said no nap. Like they will not let the child nap because they're crying. Because
this child is having the thing that they literally probably most need at that point: food and sleep, food and rest, so that they can recharge some energy, right, and calm down. And those they just said they would deprive them of food essentially and deprive them of rest as well as a punishment.
That is a human right violation. If I'm not is this Gitmo? Like, is
literally a torture technique?
Yeah, that's literally a torture technique. The only thing they haven't, and I mean, we still got a lot of video to go, but they haven't waterboarded the child yet. I mean,
I don't know. Give them time. We don't know. There's still a lot of minutes left in this. Let's see. All right, we'll keep powering through.
Exactly.
Nothing but a spanking.
And look at her. She's acknowledging it. He's this big.
We were
exactly, but she don't feel the need to beat the shit out of him.
At the fire station, and the call comes out, and it says like a dispute with a 5-year-old.
I cannot.
I'm gonna speed some of this up.
And then he walked out of the school and took off. I'm like, how? And then I'm pulling up, like, hide behind this Toyota. I was like, I can't be here because that's too far. Which is stupid.
We started doing
so the teachers kind of
put that into a rule. Don't follow the kid.
The teacher's essentially saying that, like, if the kids leave the building, they're told not to follow them, which doesn't sound right.
Just to call the cops, which is the word. If that is the policy there, then you need to fire everybody and rebuild this from top to bottom.
Exactly. She'll later restate it and say that the policy is actually to keep an eye on them, but not to try to detain them or stop them, which I would be okay with that. Obviously, there's a situation where they do need to detain them or stop them, which is the point where they need to do it is if the kid's about to walk out into the street. Obviously, you need an adult. Somebody.
But even if that's the policy, why would you send someone that knows them? It's a kid. They're not gonna. You tell them all day not to leave and go with strangers. Don't talk with strangers. Why would you not send their teacher or their favorite teacher or staff member who they get along with to try and get them back? Like, you're gonna send strangers with guns? Like, it just doesn't. That policy on its face is garbage. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and
it doesn't make sense.
And we're really putting the responsibility and the accountability on the 5-year-old in this situation to understand what police are, to know what police are at 5 years old. A kid that we don't know anything about this kid's learning capabilities or anything like that. From what we've seen, this kid hasn't spoken more than 10 to 20 words so far. They haven't let this child speak yet.
Yeah.
And so they have no understanding of or analysis of this child's level of comprehension or anything like that. All right. And so you got a 5-year-old who you have no sense of where they are developmentally, and you're expecting them somehow to have a better sense of how to to regulate themselves and to handle this situation than you yourself are having at any given moment. So it just seems so nonsensical, really. But yeah, let me just keep powering through here.
We kept them in our sights, but the closer we got, the farther.
But I mean, it should be at this point up to a certain age. Hey, sit down, wait for your parents to get in here.
More just saying, oh, you should be able to crate him.
Put him in a crate like a dog.
Yep.
You laugh.
Crate.
Want to act like a little beast.
He want to act like a little beast. I mean, if that's not, and this is where you can see, like, that is an individually racist thing to say to this kid, even though it's coming from a black cop. There's obviously institutional racisms that play out, but there is an individual, racist, thing happening when you tell a kid.
Yeah,
absolutely. When you call a kid a beast, that's dehumanizing. Inherently dehumanizing. You're literally saying this person is not a person. They're not a human being. They are a beast. A 5-year-old is a beast. And instead crate him. Who do we crate? That's
like a dog.
Absolutely. That's so this is, put him in lock him up in a little cage is what she's saying. And is there anything more cop like to ever be said? Again, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. When all you have is a jail cell, everyone looks like a criminal. All right.
If you was my kid,
you were my kid, threatening him.
So taking it back right now. I don't
the kid's still just crying.
And you also have
let something this
Kenneth
small.
showing
Where
She
you
would
go?
ask her that. I'd love to know what she would tell you.
What she tell you?
working for yourself.
She says she wants him at home.
nah.
Now, so
Nah.
So the teacher asked here, the teacher said, I'm interested in seeing what she says to you when she comes, what she says to you about what she's what's going on at home. And the cop says, well, the female cop says, well, what does she tell you? The teacher to the teacher, and the teacher responds, well, she told us that she whoops him. So here she's saying, all right, well, she's telling us that she beats this kid, or she whoops the kid.
What she tell you?
Working for yourself.
She says she wants him at home.
She says she whoops him at home. He says, nah, the cop, male
If
cop.
she did, he would not like
What,
that.
Twizzlers and cookies?
If she did, he wouldn't act like that.
I don't believe
When
it.
the school called,
This is the mom.
So they're shaming the mothers.
And cook. Well, they're shaming her ability to beat their kids, saying she doesn't beat them good enough.
Exactly. They're like, if she's beating her kids, she's not beating them properly. All right. So that's their level of assessment of this, is that if anything's wrong with this kid, it's that even if he is being abused, it's that he's not being abused enough. That's the only, they don't, without any other, need
Child
to assess.
abuse is illegal, right?
Yeah,
like
but
I didn't lose my mind at some point. I didn't like fall asleep and wake up in a world where child abuse isn't illegal, right? Like these are public service, these are cops advocating for something illegal, right? Just openly. I'm just making sure that we're all witnessing this right now, and these people still have their jobs.
yeah. Like this is, I'm pretty sure, we can pull up and read the official definition of child abuse and neglect in Maryland if we need to, but we might, if folks want us to pull that up, we will make it happen right now. I got it up on another screen and I can drop it in here if we need. But this is absolutely like, the idea that, and there's this notion that like, and we'll hear them try to repeat this throughout, like that, spanking is different from abuse somehow, that there's spanking and there's abuse. And again, there's like even if spanking is a form of abuse, like, let's not, who are we kidding? You're physically assaulting someone. That's abuse. Okay. Let's not kid ourselves. All right. So.
Hello?
How much you want for little beast? She says she's
Called him a beast again. Little beast. Mom's going to be here soon.
Say it again.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't think of a worse job. But to do it for like 10, 20.
Okay, we're on speaker again.
Doodle?
Can you please stop crying for mommy?
Oh, I accidentally.
You remember Chucky?
She said she was gonna get
One
a
out of
toy.
12.
Wow.
She said
Just
she gonna
just
get Doodle
compare
a
this
toy.
child to Chucky.
Yeah.
Doodle's getting a toy.
Because he acted a fool.
Please were disconnected.
They're like teasing him over his name, Doodle, his
No,
nickname.
I think that they think that the mom's bringing him doodles and toys to calm him down.
Yeah, but I think that they said Doodle's getting a toy. Yeah, possibly.
Equation of the problem.
Go be advised, all's okay.
He's saying mom's the problem. So they're blaming the mom for it still. All of them, the teachers, the cops.
Was that the cupcake? Are they eating a cupcake?
Yes, that cop was eating. Yes, I fast forwarded through that bit, but yes, the cop is like asking and creeping on this woman's cupcake. It's not even his cupcake. It belonged to another teacher there. And he asked her if he can have her cupcake. So this cop who is abusing this child is also sitting there like laughing it up and eating cupcakes in front of this like hungry kid, a hungry kid who wanted a snack, a kid who wanted a snack,
Literally
and he's literally, he couldn't make it through this torture scene. Like he couldn't make it through this without needing a snack because he couldn't focus and concentrate properly. And so, holy shit, I did not even recognize this. The irony, the sick, cruel irony.
Literally a torture porn horror film. That's what this is. This is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is The Hills Have Eyes, but reality. And here,
this kid, look at how the kid is like positioned. Like nobody is checking on this kid as he moves from one position to another, other than to pick him up and aggressively slam him back in the seat and yell at him. Nobody is checking on this kid. He's clearly not in a good spirits and not in a good mind space and a good head space. And all these adults in this room that are supposed to be concerned with his safety, protecting him, but they've already decided he is not deserving of their protection. He's not deserving of safety, because whatever a 5-year-old could do to deserve that, I don't know. You tell me what a 5-year-old could do that would deserve that. All right.
A few. They're kind of long.
all right, let's see what you got.
So now the teacher's saying she has some video of this. What happened? There's the video of it. It's the kid throwing a shoe at the teacher. So that's all that they were really going to be able to see from the video that the teacher shows. But that's all that's happening there. So she's like just saying, I got a few videos.
Sure.
Here it is. So you can see the kid right up here. And this is the kid, and he's facing the camera. Now he's facing the camera with something in his hand. We can't see exactly what, but he has something in his hand. We're not sure of what it is. And it'll appear he'll swing his arm forward, so it appears that he's throwing something towards or at the teacher. And I would just also keep in mind though that like this teacher is in this situation, and her instinct apparently is to be recording this child instead of like trying to tend to them. Like she's already in the mode of like
building a case against this child.
Yes.
So that school to prison pipeline.
Yes. It's already started up. So just look at how this goes. So he's responding to it.
Recording Rachel over here.
So now they're giving this kid some commands, I think, or something about webbed feet. I imagine that means put his feet together, but I don't quite know. But this is one of the teachers speaking to the kid, I believe, about webbed feet.
So I asked that friend to come with me to see Oh, did you see me?
Nah, you got a basket now.
When your body's in a chair, Miss Richardson gave you 4 chances. You chose not to. You are hurting friends and hurting Miss Richardson. You need to stop.
He said no.
She's acting like it's wrong for a kid to say no to something, to respond no to something. She's like, oh, that's the worst thing. The teacher was essentially telling the kid, Miss Richardson told you something 4 times and you didn't listen, and you're hurting. She said, you're hurting your friends and you're hurting the teacher. I don't know what that means, because he's obviously not in the moment hurting them actively. I don't know if it was meant, figuratively in some way, or referring to some physical assault.
Yeah, I think they had said that he hit a classmate.
Yeah, they said that he at least pushed one classmate's head down
Yeah.
and hit in either through or hit another person with a clipboard, or attempted to hit another person with a clipboard. I think that may have been what he tried to throw at a teacher.
I got the movie.
You're welcome.
This kid is just, the teacher just said, "I will always keep you safe." And I assume she's saying that to another child, not to the child that is in question. So I don't think that she's saying that to the kid, sadly, but that should be her attitude towards every child in that classroom, is I will always keep all of you safe.
She's already
and
given up on this child.
Yep.
clearly.
Yep.
Wingo, come here, please. Wingo, come here.
Here.
You're fine.
I'll just go back to.
You're welcome. I will always keep
Here you go.
What are we gonna do?
Always keep you safe. Wingo or
Shut
window.
her head down and then took her stuff.
Wingo.
So I asked her to come stand with me. And then.
What gets them expelled?
What gets them expelled? So now
Line up
That's
at the
not
door.
it.
now the cop is asking, what gets these kids expelled? How do you get these kids expelled? So this is the lady cop here inquiring to the teacher.
And then I turned it off.
Line up at the door.
You know.
How do we get
You
them
ain't getting
to,
no
you know?
Beyblade or nothing today for the rest of your life until you act like
I don't know.
you got some common sense there. We're going to the conference room.
Yes.
We can stay here. I don't want to move it.
Yeah, I think we'd have a stroke.
Okay.
Obviously.
So what are the guidelines for getting him ejected from the facility?
So this is the
But it
cop
seems
asking
like-
about this.
So it's this. So where we at in that process?
So-
In public, as we serve everybody.
And the teacher's response is like, we're a public school, we have to serve everybody, because it's the public school in the community. If this kid gets kicked out of the school, where the hell do they go? There's usually one public school in your region typically that you were able to go to, or the other one, like, it's enough schools that every kid can get to one, but sometimes there's only one option in your whole area. What happens if this kid gets kicked out of this public school and the mother, a working class mom, can't afford private school? What the hell happens to the 5-year-old? And this is what the cop is advocating for, because he hit one classmate. That's all she knows about this kid. He hit one classmate apparently and threw something at a teacher and walked out of the school. And that is enough to say this kid does not deserve to exist within this institution anymore. So yeah.
Go through the hoops to. No, we do have a meeting tomorrow, and if it's possible, if we could skip the formality of try this strategy and go straight to screening.
Yeah, because assault should supersede.
So they're like trying to figure out how they can expedite getting rid of the kid. The
Yeah.
teacher's like, maybe we can like skip the formality of a hearing, and like go right to the point of like something that would suggest a path to like other steps that they could take, other courses of action.
School to prison pipeline. And this
Yeah.
is like, again, when I say like and again, it happens to people, all races, but again, when I point out that Black kids are disproportionately disciplined, and you see it right here, they're literally plotting against this child.
Yeah.
Literally plotting the best way to, like, because they just don't let this be someone else's problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Because who deals with that afterward? And
Like,
what's that mother going to
this
do when
isn't
she doesn't have a school to
falling-
put her child in?
This isn't falling through the cracks. Like, y'all are throwing this kid into the abyss. That's literally you are throwing him there.
Yep. And mind you, this kid 3 months from now will be in a situation where he can't even go to be physically around other kids in school. So it's not even going to be of any concern for at least another year following that, because the pandemic is about to hit and kids are going to be working, and studying remotely. And it's not even like this kid is going to be having to directly interact with other children physically. And so, not that they know that, but it's just like you never know what's coming up and what the situation might be in this, it's just another thing where it's just like ironic, or I don't even know what to call it. Fucked up. I don't know. All right. I'll play this a little bit again.
And we have to go through the hoops to. No, we do have a meeting tomorrow, and if it's
We have
possible.
hoops.
Yeah. We gotta go through the hoops.
Formality of try this strategy and go straight to screening.
Skip the formality of try this strategy.
Some stuff.
Assault should supersede some stuff.
And then walking out.
Like three.
These people that keep on saying how badly they want to assault this child and how badly this child needs to be assaulted for doing whatever he did wrong, he deserves to be assaulted. But the the act of him assaulting someone, oh, that is just beyond the pale, and is now he deserves to be excommunicated from this, civil institution. Like, he doesn't deserve to be in this public institution anymore. We are banishing him from civil society because he hit someone, even though our whole solution to every problem we've faced today in front of this kid has been hit him, beat him, beat him, beat him, beat him.
On a regular. Okay, I mean, like,
Has he done that before?
He's gone out. This is the furthest he's gone.
yeah, he leaves.
This kid has left the school before they said.
And we're gonna be right there waiting on you to come out them doors.
I ain't
It's a
waiting.
fucking threat.
I'll be right here.
Threatening.
Somebody else gonna be waiting for him. They're gonna snatch him up.
Oh.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yo,
Then you be missing.
then you be
You're gonna
missing.
be missing. Yep.
Not with-
Let's
Get the
joke
law.
about the kid getting trafficked
Kidnapped.
They're gonna snatch
or
him.
kidnapped.
Yeah, like what? Yo, how you gonna threaten a child that they're going to be kidnapped and essentially saying it's your fault?
They're not even being like, kid, you have to be careful because this could happen. And then what's gonna happen when they get
Exactly.
your ass? Like,
Exactly. It's like you listen to what she said. She's like, because you wasn't doing the right thing.
And then what would happen is the mother would then be forced to call these scumbags who will show up, take a bunch of notes, and say the kid probably ran away from home because he's an ain't shit kid anyways.
Yeah.
And then just never do anything about it.
Absolutely.
So, like, why do we need the
they
cops to get
over
involved?
police and they under police. You know,
At
they
the
over
same
police
time.
and same time to the same people. You know, like they will both. You know, they'll overdo it and be heavy-handed when they're not needed and it's unnecessary, and then they completely disappear when they're actually needed for something.
And again, to even further say the school to prison pipeline, think about what this cop just said when you get out of here. And like, yeah, I know he means like when he runs away next time, but like, how do you not internalize that like when you graduate from school, this dude will always have a vendetta against you. This cop will always remember this kid. And he will, I guarantee, you want to talk about stop and frisk? I guarantee if he's still working when this kid is 16, he stops him every time that he's walking home and harasses him.
And can you blame this kid for thinking fuck the police when he gets to be, 16, 17, 18 after he's being constantly harassed, probably been kicked out of school by then through no real fault of his own. Again, that's how this often happens where they can't even complete through high school because they're being shoved out the door at every opportunity. They're not trying to help them. They're just like, it's much easier to just get rid of the kid and keep it moving. Yeah, so
somebody else gonna be waiting for him. They're gonna snap.
I'm just a dude. I'm just a random dude, but I've been expelled from a school before. I've been expelled from school as in middle school, as in seventh grade, I was expelled from school because I was, and I don't want to make it about myself. I'm trying not to make it about myself, but I was being, harassed, bullied by, in a racist way and xenophobic way. I had really long dreads and these white kids would talk shit. And then we get into fights. And then I ended up getting expelled from the school. And like, I'm just a person, but look at how it happens. Black folks is just more likely. How many white folks watching this can say that they got expelled from school? I've been expelled from school. Like, it just happens to people. It's not, I was a smart kid. I was an overachiever. I got skipped ahead of grade prior to that. And the same kid that got skipped ahead of grade is now being expelled from school. You think that that's because I was just not smart enough or no, absolutely not. So not to make it about myself, but it just happens to anybody. It happens to anybody.
When kids are fighting, there's usually some type of bullying going on, whether it's them fighting back the bully, whether it's them bullying somebody, or whether it's them being bullied at home and then going back and replicating the abuse that they're suffering at home. Absolutely. So kids fighting is a point where you shouldn't just expel the kid. You need to figure out
what's the source.
What is
exactly
causing this.
Absolutely.
If you don't ask but I mean, this is, and again, to the, everything looks like a nail. Like, cops do this routinely. Like, let's not ask what's the source of addiction. Let's just lock them up. Let's just abuse and lock them up.
Let's not ask what the source of homelessness is. Let's just criminalize them and
lock them up. Let's not ask like why people have to steal.
Absolutely.
Let's just abuse them and lock them up. Like this is their solution to everything.
Yep.
They're gonna snatch him up. That's what's gonna happen.
They're gonna snatch him up.
Then you be missing. Because you're not where you belong.
Because you're not where you belong. You'll be missing because you're not where you belong. Not because that adult is a horrific human being that is a terrible person that is willing to harm children. No. It's your fault. If you get kidnapped, if you get snatched off the street when you walk out of the school doors, it's because you weren't where you were supposed to be. It's your fault. That's what they're teaching this kid right now.
Oh my God, I can't believe I would beat him so badly.
Oh my God, I would beat him so badly, she said. Everything they've said so far is any harm done to you, you deserve it. It's your fault and you deserve it. That's the most like victimizing mentality you can ever instill in a human being, and particularly at an age this young.
When I was at elementary school, my grandmother was a head secretary. So I tried all the time. But it was a ritual.
It's a ritual.
In the conference room,
so you was gay?
No.
So now he's referencing his grandmother beating him at school. And he's saying it was a ritual, meaning even after this was happening repeatedly, because he says it was a ritual, which means this happened quite frequently, enough to be considered a ritual, which means after all those beatings, your ass still wasn't learning and wasn't changing your behavior. So it was happening over and over and over again, which would suggest to me that beating a kid doesn't deter the bad behavior. And it's literally is right in front of your face, but you can't see that.
What are you talking about? They turned out just fine.
Duh. Crazy.
I got beat at the school.
And
then when my mom came to pick, I got beat in the van. Then when I got home, my dad beat me again. And then he would come up later like, I just ate. I got energy. Come here.
And his dad, he ate food, and so he's got energy to go beat him some more.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how and why I became a cop. So I could then pass the abuse on to little 5-year-old boys. And the circle of life continues.
Da, da, da.
Fuck.
And he laughs.
It got to the point where I wear like 3-4 extra.
He wear 3-4 extra pairs of underwear and clothing to try to dull the beating.
The beating.
Right.
And they have to just take it.
Okay, so at what point can you say I can't work with that little boy?
That's all this female cop wants to do is just get rid of him.
So we got that meeting tomorrow.
We got that meeting tomorrow. Don't worry. We got that meeting tomorrow. We'll be pushing for that thanks to you.
Alternative for this side?
I think there's some emotions.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think she said that I think this teacher in the black said he's emotionally distraught or something along those lines. I believe she said.
Yeah, he got to go somewhere else.
He got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because he know what he doing. Mm-hmm. He's bad. I told her.
He's just bad. She said.
He's bad. That's what it is.
Bad.
Because no one's correcting it.
Because nobody's beating him.
So he just keep doing the same stuff.
And we're going to hear. So sorry that I talked over that. I apologize. This teacher is going to say, and she's saying this like, the mom says she beats him, but the cop says that this child's behavior clearly proves that she's not really beating him, sadly. Like it's like an unfortunate thing to her. It's like, man, the mom said she was beating him, but she let us down. She's not actually beating him, it appears, according to this cop, or she's not beating him good enough.
Need to lose their jobs. I'm a prison abolitionist, but if I could see all of you guys just locked away until the prison comes down, you shouldn't be allowed in the public if you have beliefs like this. Y'all shouldn't be working with kids. Like, it's just imagine, right, that you work at a car dealership and someone pulls in the parking lot. They hop out their car and your first thought is, I need to get rid of this person as fast as humanly possible. I don't want anything to do with you. You should lose your job.
Yeah.
You would lose your job. Why are these people employed?
Yeah,
why are these teachers employed? You don't want to do your job. You don't want to help kids. You don't. Like, y'all are itching just itching and plotting to try and pawn this kid off as quickly as humanly possible.
Yep.
This asshole on the left is over here on Facebook.
Yeah, she's just chilling, like she don't give a fuck.
Just
like,
chilling.
Yeah.
She's on the gram right now.
No interest in this child that's like curled up, eyes in his face, crying through most of this time.
Motionless and quiet. He could
just like
he could have had a panic attack, be blacked out. No one's checked on him.
This kid is currently internalizing the idea that no matter how much I cry out, no matter how much I ask for help from the people that I was told will protect me, will keep me safe, no matter how much I ask for help, I will not receive it. That is all that is being, no matter what they're saying to him, regardless of what they're saying to him, I think that the behavior that he's observing and the emotion that he's experiencing are going to be deeply ingrained in him and instilled in him, and those are the things that are going to cut the deepest and last the longest. Those are going to be the lasting effects and the lasting memories of this, is the sense of abandonment by the people that are, the adults, the authority figures that were entrusted with to keep him safe and to protect this child. And all he's seeing is that nobody cares. Nobody's listening to me cry out. They're all treating each other well. They're all acting like they're all right, and I'm wrong no matter what I do, and that I deserve everything bad that's happening to me. All the pain that I feel, I somehow deserve that. All right.
It is, because no one's correcting it.
He's getting
so he just keep doing the same stuff.
Mom says she beats him.
No.
Okay, y'all notified her why she's coming, and then she's still talking about something you're supposed to get a Beyblade. I'm pretty sure.
Don't cry,
there's none of that going on.
Don't cry.
So this officer is now discerning. He's like, okay, well, you told the mom what was going on, and the mother responded. So you told the mother that this kid, was acting out at school, and the mother responded by telling the child that she would give him get him a toy
to try to it's a type of toy.
What is it called?
Beyblade.
Asking him to calm down, and saying, just calm down and I'll get you this toy or whatever. And he's saying, oh, the mother offered him a toy knowing what he had done. If that's the case, then there's no way that she's properly beating this child, is what he's saying. So
we're gonna go get your toy. Want to get your toy today?
So they're shaming the mother about potential, or the cop.
How would you want this child to respect this woman that you're currently belittling and shaming? Like, right? But y'all don't even make sense. Y'all don't make sense. Like,
yep. Great point. Here's the mom. Mom enters. Okay.
One of the officers made a statement and asked what's going on in my home.
Yes, ma'am. If you want, we can talk about that.
No, we can talk about it. Yeah. I would just want to show y'all. Come on, Doodle.
Sorry, I'll crank the volume.
Stand up for mommy.
So this gets a little weird. She just walks in
16 years later.
And she's saying,
it.
Yeah, she's saying one of y'all, one of the cops asked me what's going on in the home, and so now she just walked over the kid and asked him to get up, and now she's taking his shirt off.
22-year-old.
For anyone that's not looking at the screen right now. So she's taking his shirt off in front of all these adults,
because the government won't allow you.
Yes, you can.
I spank him, but I can't discipline him how I want to discipline him because of this. I'm not losing my child to the system, and I'm not going to prison.
Okay, can you clarify how you would like to discipline?
This not being physically abused.
Who said he was?
No, because we believe it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, we want you to beat him.
You're talking about getting him a.
She said, she said he's not physically abused. He's not being physically abused.
Problem.
And they said, no, it's the exact opposite. We want you to beat him. All right, that's the problem. It's the exact opposite. It's not the issue isn't that he's not being physically abused. The issue isn't that he's being physically abused. The issue is that he's not being physically abused enough. He's not being physically abused properly. That's both of the cops there that said, that and his mom now all saying, and she's like, I discipline him, but I just can't beat him the way that I want to. I can't discipline him. I spank him, but I can't really do what I want.
Because the whole thing that people who that abuse their children say is, oh, I only spank them. I don't abuse them. Right. She's literally said, I spank him. I can't discipline him the way I want. So what's past spanking but before abusing? Because it just sounds like you're saying you want to abuse your child. And with that being said, the cops have been like, no, you're not doing it enough. So even more so, like, so they're dropping the facade now about it's only spanking, not actual abuse.
Yes, because
they're just straight mask off, dropping the facade now.
Yes, because she just said, I spanked them, but I can't discipline the way that I really want to. And they're like, well, whatever you're doing, it's not enough. So spanking is not enough to them, which means you got to go beyond spanking, which again, I just don't know what is beyond spanking. Let's be real here. Like, serious question. What goes beyond spanking? I mean, beyond that, we're talking about, spanking would be, in my mind, when I hear spanking, I think of somebody being hit with an open hand on typically on their butt, or on their legs, typically like upper leg area, butt area. That's typically what I would consider spanking. Really on the butt is primarily.
If they're younger, they'll usually do the
like a slap on the hand. Yeah. But that's more, you don't typically call that a spanking. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. Like typically you don't call that spanking though. It's just like, oh, you got a slap on the wrist. I mean, versus, they don't say you got spanked on the wrist, but still, so that like, so they're saying what goes beyond that. Now you're talking about either hitting the child in another part of their body, like that raises the smacking them in the head.
Closed fist, is that what you're
closing a fist? Exactly. Like is because that's beyond. Like those are the things that go beyond. And what can you do beyond spanking to these people?
What is like choking him, holding him up by his ears? Like what do you like? Anything past that, and we're getting to literal Saw territory. So I need y'all to come clarify.
Yeah.
What y'all exactly need.
Yeah. All right. So let's hear it again. Yeah.
Discipline him how I want to discipline him because of this. I'm not losing my child to the system and I'm not going to prison.
Okay. Can you clarify how you would like to discipline?
This not being physically abused.
Who said he was?
No,
because
we believe it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, we want you to beat him.
You're talking about getting him
I can't beat him.
Why?
Because I'm not going to prison.
You don't go to prison for beating your child.
Listen to me. I made a statement in here, and one of the school staffs, the principal.
Perhaps you did it incorrectly.
No.
You don't use a weapon.
No, I don't use a weapon.
But you can smack that butt repeatedly.
Listen to me.
So this officer of, a law enforcement officer just told this woman that it's okay to beat your child as long as you don't use a weapon. So that's apparently the limiting factor. So apparently not using a weapon, I can strangle someone. I can strangle someone to death without using a weapon. I can literally close fist punch you as a grown ass adult in your head, and you could kill a kid. You could kill a kid with one punch. You could kill a kid if you hit them in their head a certain way, especially a 5-year-old child. So how can you say that's not child abuse if you close fist punch a child in their head, a 5-year-old, with all your might as an adult? Come on, that's what do you mean it's not, as long as you don't use a weapon?
I'm 41 years old.
I'm older than you.
I understand that.
So your age means nothing.
I'm 41. I'm 22 years old.
Yo, this cop is just like,
I hate this. I hate this woman. Yeah. So I loathe this woman. I hope, man, if there's any video that we ever made that goes viral, I hope it's this one, because I want this woman and this man to see this video. Mark my words, look me dead in my eye. You are the biggest low life, trash, good for nothing scum, irredeemable in this world. Oh my God, I have nothing nice to say that wouldn't get this whole channel shut down about your funky asses. Yep. Oh my Lord. My Lord. I wish nothing but the worst.
Yeah, these cops, and the teachers,
Medicare for all but the people in this room.
And the only person I have any slight, there's considerable forces against them that makes some of it more understandable, not excusable, but it's understandable, is the mother, who is a single working mom who's just trying to keep her kid in school, and also maybe potentially feeling the fear of these are cops and it's a dangerous
that was the other
situation.
thing. Like, you may debate it going back and forth, because I go back and forth on it. Like, I would want to see the court case and what she has to say if she's, you know, again, like I said, fearing for, you know, if you don't say, if you don't already know, say whatever it takes to escape a situation with the police without fucking getting killed. Because or getting them, letting them use it against you. Say if you got to kiss their ass. There's nothing wrong with that. Do whatever it takes to survive that. So I could totally understand her saying whatever it takes. Oh, they want me to beat my kid, then I beat the brakes off them. You know, like I will say whatever to escape that situation. And I would also only allow the old girl in the back who was on her phone if she had her little recorder out and she was recording all this shit. That's the only other way.
The only situation where she's coming out of this unscathed. Like,
because other than that, y'all are I'm not religious. You are the devil. You are demons. You are evil incarnate.
The lack of compassion that one has to have to not feel terrible about this crying child who's now got his shirt off, you know, in this room. Gotta not be feeling totally comfortable. All these adults around you who don't make you feel safe, and now your shirt's off. The mom was she was starting to take his pants off to show these people that he's not being abused.
To speak to the mother's situation, she has to have had child protective services involved times in their life. The way she walked in and immediately was like, "I need you to see there are no marks." So she knew the drill. She knew the drill. This is someone who's had accusations against them before that was said in the video. The way she handled that, you could tell.
Absolutely. And with that, I definitely understand that. And I totally, I totally understand that. Also with that person can also be, and if they have a predatory mentality and they are harming this child, that knowledge can empower them to know how to hide abuse better. And so that they use tactics that don't leave bruises. And you can still do massive, deadly, fatal internal damage to a child or a person. And you can do fatal internal damage to an adult without necessarily causing bruising to the body, visible bruising to the body. So there are ways that people, can hurt people without leaving bruises. And some abusers are more skilled in those techniques. So not that I am not saying this woman is, not leveling that charge against her in any way. I'm just saying that's also something that has to be considered when you in that context as well. Is just like, we got to look out for the kid's safety as well, and have that in the forefront of our mind. Not that I'm saying the mom did anything like that.
Oh, so this one, I'm starting all over again.
Understood.
He's spoiled.
Not good.
What did I email you this morning and say?
That if he's had a good day, he gets to celebrate that.
Take him to Jamaica, Disney World, do everything. Struggling,
this not
single
a good day
parent.
for that.
So in order for him to do good, I have to reward him.
Positive reinforcement.
Not today.
Yeah.
For doing what he's
not today, because today he's down the street.
For 3 days.
Somebody gonna snatch him because he out here unattended.
And what I want to do, I want to discipline him.
Please do.
But I can't.
Let's have this conversation away from him. He does not need to.
29. This was 30 minutes into this.
He doesn't eat by choice.
Can we talk outside for like 5?
30 minutes in is the first time that anyone thought that maybe it wasn't a good idea to be having this conversation right in front of this child the entire time. 30 minutes into this situation.
5 minutes real quick, ma'am.
You go.
Put your clothes on.
Because I don't understand why you saying you can't, but you can. You can.
Ma'am, just one second.
That's what we want.
Is there another room?
Because he wouldn't act
I don't want to
like
put
that
her
if
business out.
Because you just don't know what.
Like, he wouldn't act that way with me.
I know what you're just saying.
I'd put him in
But
his
you
place.
know the funny part about it?
I'm speeding this up a little bit.
We'll talk to her, and then if y'all have anything, we'll pull y'all in. We'll let her know. So, and I apologize. What's your name?
Shantae.
Shantae. I'm Officer Chrisman.
All right.
All right. This is
I
Officer
remember you.
Howard.
From where?
Chrisman and Halliday, Officer Chrisman.
I already
and
tried
Halliday.
to look up
Oh, okay.
Officer Hall.
Yeah, I'm in the
I couldn't
streets.
find anything on her.
So
But
understand though, real quick. All right. We're not calling you off your job.
no, you're supposed to.
Right. Okay. So, but you got to remember.
Understanding parent is just in the background.
Let's
The
have a
first
seat.
thing I heard was what's going on in the home.
Disconnect.
Oh, that wasn't me. I ain't.
No,
that
no,
was
no,
me.
no.
Because
No, I just, that's why the first thing I came in, because I'm young, I'm hood, I'm in the streets. I don't smoke weed. I drink occasionally. It's not being physically abused. It's spoiled.
But we need to back that up from there, because
And
that's
I
not helping.
try. And I try. And Mr. When I say, you already know what's going down. I'm beating that ass when I get home. Oh, no, you can't.
I said, I hope your mama would let me
and
beat
we
you
wanted to
because,
talk to you so we could
I
clarify.
promise you, baby, my hand of God, sweetest kid in the world. Don't do this at home. Don't do this with friends. For course 70 people, nobody believes what's going
we
on.
got video. He didn't hit the teacher.
Yeah,
he didn't hit children. He didn't
He hit
threw
the teacher with the
computers on
basket.
I don't
He
know.
broke $1,000
what to tell
computer.
you.
He hit a teacher with
threw
a
an eraser.
basket.
And
They
he
said.
does not do.
Threw an
I'm not
eraser.
lying
Tell
to
you what we
Right.
It's a
saw.
kid throwing a
believe
temper
it.
tantrum.
I believe it
It's on
because I
video.
deal with these people.
So can I ask you, what's the disconnect?
This for you when you doesn't understand.
Sure, thank you.
All right, it's time to play. Now, guess what? It's media time. I don't want to do media. He does not do that with me.
But see, they can't hit him.
I know that.
You can.
I can't hit him because
So she's like,
two people
you need to
here
hit him enough
stated,
so that he
oh,
knows,
you know,
even when he's outside of the house.
CPS.
No. You have two uniformed police officers that are telling you the law.
Oh.
As a
You're
parent,
allowed to spank
you
your
are more than allowed to
Mr.
just a child.
State it to me, and I can repeat this in front of him. Don't let no one else hear you say that because that's a CPS case.
That's
I
That's
would
what she's
have
saying
to
the teacher
report
said.
that.
And
I
here-
didn't say I was going to beat him with a belt. I didn't say I was going to beat him with an object. So I said, you know what? I'm from New York. I guess Montgomery County got it.
No.
That's
Let
when
me
they-
let me give you a scenario. Okay.
She's literally using like some like toxic masculinity. I mean, I'm from New York. I guess y'all punk bitches down here in Maryland. Y'all don't beat y'all kids properly down here because where I'm from, we get we get
New
brought up
York
with our
gets
children.
busy.
Yeah. And so she's like trying to be like, yo, you's a sucker if you ain't out here allowing some child abuse. So
We got a call at the DSW. Remember that?
he's like, oh no, let me
Last
tell
year,
you.
because this adult hit a kid. That's what it came out of. They didn't know if there was kids, parents or not. All right, hold on, hear me out. When that call came out, we got there. They established the fact that it was their parent and they were acting up inside the store, and so they ended up, spanking that butt.
Mhm.
And you know what we did? Have a good day, ma'am. And we told that kid, if you don't
And
do
I'm
what
from-
they tell you to do, then you gonna get it again when
And
you get
I'm
home.
from New York. When you get different police officers, when my girlfriend beat her daughter, the officer came to me and said to me and my girlfriend and said, do what you got to do. Just don't kill her. So by me coming here, I don't want to call it.
She's like, New York police tell you you can physically abuse your child in any way, just don't kill them. All right, so anything goes, just as long as they ain't dead. Apparently your child is your property to destroy in any way, shape, or form, save for death in New York. Apparently,
And
that's what
and we have touched on this numerous times, like almost every time we talk about the police, but just again, keep in mind what he just said about showing up there. Child is abused. They said, oh, the kid did something to deserve it. They let it go on. Cops choose, like they don't really enforce any real laws, and when they do, it's completely up to them. That is why when they show up at their buddy's house who's beating their wife, they can just let them go. Like they choose when that they choose to enforce laws. So the next time you hear someone get murdered unarmed and for something that's not that wild, just remember that the cops actively chose to do that, because there's a whole lot of situations where they choose to just walk away, like when they show up and a kid is being beat.
yeah.
So just remember that. Always keep that in the back of your mind when people talk about police, that they do have leeway in how they choose to. So that whole just doing their job shit is nonsense. It is nonsense. It will always be nonsense, because when they want to, they will walk away and
Absolutely.
say, just don't kill them.
Absolutely. And this is if people, just to make clear real quick, I just want to make real clear real quick that the standard that these cops are supposed to understand, these are people that are supposed to understand the law. These are law enforcement officers being tasked with situations of child safety and potential child abuse. And so they must understand what is child abuse under Maryland law? Like, what is child abuse? And based on everything you've heard them say today, you know, that you know, I think that did we hear the cop just now say about you know, here Maryland says, this is from dhs.maryland.gov. So this is the Department of Human Services, Maryland's official statewide Department of Human Services webpage. And this is the official information available. And it says, what is child abuse and neglect? And they say, number one thing that defines child abuse is physical injury, not necessarily visible, of a child under circumstances that indicate that a child's health or welfare is harmed at a substantial risk or at a substantial risk of being harmed. Okay. So that is child abuse. All right. Is physical injury not necessarily visible. All right. And so the idea that if you don't leave bruises and marks, that it's somehow okay, or that you don't use a weapon or something is absurd. So
and
let me
this, just so we're all clear, this psychological torture that they have enacted on this child definitely counts as child abuse.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyone that's down, these cops, these teachers have all abused this child.
Yes,
so we
absolutely.
just be clear.
Absolutely.
Be real fucking clear about that.
Yes, 100%. So let me
texting Tina, this is definitely child neglect because you sat there and Facebooked while these cops tortured this child. So you know, like, this is abuse and neglect. Like, I hope that she sued the school and these teachers as well. I need to look and see if that's also the case.
Yeah. Yep. And I think right now this is the few minutes, for a few minutes now, the child's not in the room for these just a few minutes now. It's, you know, since they come into this room, they haven't brought the child in just yet. For the past, it's been about 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes here.
Ethiopian woman made a statement about me telling my child, I'm beating you when I get home. And then Miss repeating it. So I said, okay.
As long as there's no cuts.
When he's with me, not like that. I promise you.
Girl, this was a show.
Yeah.
I mean, the yelling, he was on the street, would not get in the car.
I promise
The
you.
male cop just said, as long as there's no cuts.
My girlfriend is the supervisor of CPS, but in New York, she said, Shantae, don't let them people tell you can't beat ass. I said, this is Maryland. This is different.
Well, we telling you,
said,
as law enforcement,
what the fuck is going on in
Montgomery County, which is school that he goes to, you can most definitely. Matter of fact, we applaud the fact that you would please beat your kid because of the fact.
Because he had a 3-day good with them, I said, you know what? I brought him Blaze. Some little toy. He messed up. I made him throw it in the trash. He did good. 3 days. I emailed you this morning, didn't I? Tell when mommy get off of work. I promised him that I'm gonna take him to Five Below to get the Blaze. He did good. What his thing is, when it's no more fun time, he don't want to do it. He does not do this at home, and it's driving me crazy.
All I can tell you is beat that ass.
Oh, that's all she can tell her. Just beat that ass.
But I need that.
That's one response.
Jess is on. Let me just clear. One second.
How many times have I even reached out?
Because we're mandated reporters.
And that's what
She knows she's a
mandated
mandated reporter.
So if you say things,
you remember that now,
depending on who the person is,
she's like warning her
what their beliefs are, and depending on what they hear. If they hear something that sounds like, oh my God,
I didn't say I was going to beat them with a gun.
Listen.
It's a different type of language.
They have to call.
Just don't even say nothing.
Just okay.
Say nothing. That makes it worse.
Getting in the meeting.
Pause it. Because my understanding as a mandated reporter, if you fail or neglect to report, you lose your job and you can't work in a job that requires you to be a mandated reporter. So with this leaking,
like
all of these teachers have to lose their job, right?
Exactly. And they were clearly aware.
Like they're coaching her on how to get around it.
Yes.
They're literally coaching her on how to get around
advice on how to work through loopholes of the situation.
I don't see any planet where these people are.
Even earlier when she talked about the principal, the comment that the principal made to her was not stop doing that. It was don't let me hear you talk
Yeah.
about it again. It's that was the issue, was we just can't hear you talk
Plausible
about it.
deniability. They
Yeah.
just want plausible deniability. You know, it's like I work at a dispensary. Sometimes you get someone that's coming in and you're like, I don't think that, you know, this is for you. Can you not text people and ask them what they want while you're here so I don't lose my job? Like, plausible deniability. But they're doing that with a kid. And
and
that's where it's a little bit more dangerous.
Yep.
And I say, I didn't use no, I said, but black people, we discipline different.
Black people, we
where I
discipline
come
different. You see, that's that bullshit. You know, that's that shit. That's like, you know, it's like, oh, it's a cultural thing. We, you know, we're just normalizing abusing our children, and that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. We can never stoop to that level. And there's nothing inherent about black culture that said that we like to beat our kids. All right, like, so there's no reason that we need to reinforce that kind of, you know, abusive paradigms.
Sit down. First time, sit down. The second time, the third time, you sitting, because my mother done knocked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to do that.
And you're allowed to do that. Knock the shit out
Don't
of
have
them.
no bruises, anything.
Right, but just
I'm not
understand
gonna
the fact
kill
though,
As long as
him.
you don't have bruises,
but
I'm
if
not going to kill him.
But I didn't say it to them. I said to, I came here because all of my friends think that, and I'm not being rude.
I know.
I'll say them white people fucking with you, because that's not.
Show them this video.
To the fact where
Yeah, please show them
they
this
asked
video.
me to change his school. I'm like, nah, it's not
So
the
she
school.
could go
Not.
someplace
Because
where they'll let him beat her.
Yeah, or I think these other people are concerned that the other people might be telling her, like, there's a problem with the school and the school isn't handling this child properly.
No. I'm pretty clear. Rewind it back. I'm pretty clear. This is all from the same CPS person advising her on how to be able to beat her child. Because she said, you know, Shantae, these white people, they move differently. So
Yeah.
I really think she's saying that they told her to move schools so that she could beat her kid. This is wild.
Right, we'll listen to it again and see. Let's pull it back and see here.
Time, the third time, you sitting, because my mother done knocked the shit out of me.
And you're allowed to do that.
Don't have no bruises, anything.
Right, but just
I'm not
understand the
gonna
fact
kill
though,
him,
if you say
but
that
if
to
I-
somebody,
But I didn't say it to them. I said to, I came here because all of my friends think
She
that,
said, all of my friends.
and I'm not being
I-
rude.
Here.
I know.
I'll say them white people fucking with you,
Said
because that's not.
Shantae, them white people fucking with you.
To
show
the
them this
fact-
video.
To the fact where they asked me to change his school. I'm like, nah, it's not the school. It's
Not.
because I know my kid. When I don't give his way, he'll cry, but he don't do that with me. I promise you.
Oh, maybe you're
Y'all,
right.
I know, and I said to you, y'all
Maybe you're
can't
right.
baby him.
So
You
she's
gotta
saying
speak
y'all gotta
firm.
be
Sit down.
more
Okay,
aggressive
because
with
then
them.
he's gonna. Oh, he know that he could do it with y'all.
She does. I mean, she's patient, but she's firm.
But can I
Yeah.
ask you a question
Yeah.
though? You were obviously called off your job today, and I'm not talking about
It's
any
not
other
the
time.
first time.
But no,
Mhm.
I'm not even talking about that. But today you were called off your job, right?
Mhm.
So you're en route. They told you he's having some type of issue. Your conversation with is we were supposed to go get a Beyblade. That is out of
That's
the
his
question.
concern.
You going home, and we're gonna have an issue. We're gonna
This
have to
is
talk about
parenting
that.
advice.
And you know why I said that to him? Because you did good. You're supposed to do good, because now I stated to them, I don't do the reward. You're supposed to pass a test. You're supposed to do good. If you do good, I don't have to give you this. So now you're gonna do good just because you're gonna get something. That's not where I'm from. But I'm trying their method to see my big son. I don't.
So she's saying I'm trying the method, and the method that she's been recommended to do is to not
Positive reinforcement.
positive reinforcement is what's known, right? And there's a bit of a misnomer there with positive reinforcement.
Yeah,
I could get into the details
It's not
of it because
necessarily always positive. It's
exactly
just whether
means
it gives
it's
the
it's,
affirm.
it's whether you want to have them continue to do a behavior that they've already
Yes.
exhibited. So you want them. Negative reinforcement is when you want to take a behavior away from
Yes.
them. So you want to use negative reinforcement. But we all understand generally what somebody means by positive reinforcement, meaning done with a positive attitude as well, in a positive manner, not one that is aggressive or antagonistic or anything like that, but rather is sort of in a cooperative way instead of competitive way, is the best way I can say it for now. But I lost my train of thought there. What the hell was I just saying?
About how she said she was trying their way.
Oh yes, so here you have this woman saying that I'm trying to use these things that I've been taught to try to reinforce good behaviors in my child by rewarding good behavior instead of punishing bad behaviors. And I will reward good behavior so that my child will. The idea is that when they're in a situation, they will want to try to continue to try to do the right thing until they achieve the reward, instead of always being afraid to try anything, because then you risk a child not being willing to experiment and try new things. Because if they're only fear, if they know they don't get rewarded for doing good things, she just said that's your job. That's what you're expected to do. So you're just expected to do everything good in life. You're just expected to do it with no reward to it whatsoever.
No
exactly. With no reward whatsoever for doing good things. But if you do the wrong thing, you will be punished. And so in that situation, you're just not going to try new things because you run the risk. There's never a good, there's never a positive to risking anything. So you don't try new things. You don't try to learn new things because you're afraid. If I do the wrong thing, which I don't know what the right and wrong thing is, if I happen to do what this other person considers the wrong thing, I'm going to be hurt for it. And that's what you're enforcing in someone, is this a fear of trying new things and a fear of trying to do. And it's, it's very just, a traumatizing way to exist. And you wouldn't train a dog like that, much less a human being that you're trying to raise properly. So, if you see somebody beating their dog or, hitting their, like it's, you wouldn't expect somebody to treat an animal like that, much less a young child. So, yeah, it's just, it's, and the sad thing is that the mother's trying those methods and being shamed out of that and being told, no, you should be ashamed of yourself for trying to reinforce and reward good behavior, which is the right thing. They're saying, don't do that. You should be ashamed for trying to do that. What you need to be doing is just beating him more, beating him harder and more. That's it. That's their solution. And is it any surprise that a cop thinks that violence is the solution to every problem?
I don't want to say his name, but because I need to see how he interacts with you.
Bring him in here.
Yeah, that's
Now
what I
they're
want.
bringing him back in.
This thing here.
Yeah, I suggest.
And you know what I keep saying?
I suggest you look at that video. I really do suggest
Blaming the dad for saying the dad shouldn't have had no more kids.
That are saying he don't
Nobody believes me. Nobody believes me.
As long as you understand, you're not being oblivious to it, right?
I know it's true.
Cool.
I've never doubted them.
Thank you. That's all.
You know why I respect these people? I grew up in New York all my life. I don't give a fuck if y'all want to learn or not. I'm still gonna get paid. I've never heard them speak like that.
Fact.
I've never heard that. That's why I back you. And when did I ask you? Come here.
They're all defending each other against
this is
child.
a trash county. It's even worse in New York.
Why you not listening?
Yeah,
That's how they act.
Huh?
What Miss said is asked for a snack and she said, sit down and I'll give it to you. And he started attacking
all
her.
because he wanted a
And
snack.
then
He
So that's how we deal with adults?
He took a friend from the back of the head and shoved her down.
So what mommy gonna do?
He took a clipboard and attacked
What
her
mommy gonna do?
with it.
Huh?
I think he said mommy's gonna
So
beat
now,
my butt.
what's
Beat me
going
in the
on?
butt.
Yeah.
He walks out of the school
You left
regularly.
out of the school? You grown?
He told him, yeah.
You an adult? You want somebody to take you? Huh? Yes or no? Open your mouth. What I keep
Teaching them that if you don't feel safe in a place, you don't get to leave that place to try to find a safe place or whatever. You stay there under all circumstances. No concern about, do you feel safe in this place? Is there a reason why? Why do you keep leaving school? If that's where people are there to protect you at school, you should want to stay there. Why don't you feel safe and want to stay in school? Like, that's how you should be approaching a child at this point. I'm not a freaking trained professional, but I know that that's a better way to approach a child than what they're doing.
telling you, stop playing retarded for free. I don't get a check.
Whoa.
Right? Yes or no?
So that's the mother saying, stop, to the child saying, stop playing the R word, for free, because I don't get a check. So saying, if this kid does have some sort of, learning disability or something like that, she's using a slur against a 5-year-old child, R word retarded, and using that slur against them. And and saying, you know, oh, don't act that way if I'm not going to be able to get a check from it, essentially, is her attitude. Is like, if I'm not getting paid by the government for you having a disability, then don't burden me with your disability, essentially. That's the message to this child, who we do not know if they've ever been properly evaluated for any kind of developmental disability or behavioral, you know, anything like that. We don't know what they've been tested
Which,
for.
again, underdiagnosed, because they just assume that black kids are bad.
Yep. It's always just, oh, they're just you know, innately, you know, criminalistic and violent, and this is just their natural, you know, progression at 5 years old.
So why you can't listen? I work hourly. If I don't work, I don't eat. If I don't eat, you don't eat. Remember, mommy tell you that?
So here's, you got the mother putting the pressure on a 5-year-old. If you don't behave exactly as you're told by people in authority, then any mistake you make, anytime you don't listen to people in authority positions, even if they may be trying to do harm to you in some situation, if you don't listen to them, then mommy can't work. And if mommy can't work, then mommy can't eat. And if mommy can't eat, then you don't eat, which is another wild thing to say, because usually you would be like, you're going to eat first, and if you don't eat, then mommy doesn't eat, you know, is like what a mother would typically instinctually, or father, or any parent, you know, non-binary parent would say about their child, would say, you know, I don't eat until you eat, right? But this mother says, if I don't eat, then you don't eat. But also to put that on the child and to put the burden on them is like, if we don't eat, it's because you did something wrong, is why you're going potentially hungry. And we know this kid is you know, somebody that this all stems from him being hungry at school and wanting a snack, so much so that he couldn't, you know, had an outburst.
You think I got time to keep coming here for this? No. How many times I gotta talk to you? You want me to keep beating your ass?
Oh.
You want her to let me do it?
Oh.
You want the police officer to take you?
Just threatening.
You know why?
I don't like bad children, bad disrespectful children. I think they need to be beaten.
Oh.
You know what I told your mama.
When you get older, when you want to make your own decisions, you know what's gonna be your best friend? These right here. You know what these are? These
Showing
are
them handcuffs.
You know
want to go where Uncle Berto at?
You want to go where Uncle Berto at?
These are for people that don't want to listen and don't know how to act.
You want to go
He's
where
cuffing
Uncle
a
Berto
5-year-old.
at?
That is.
Where Uncle Berto at?
They put you at like
Cuffing
that,
a 5-year-old behind his back.
and then now you can't move, you can't free, you can't go anywhere. You do what we tell you to do. Is that how you want to live your life? Huh? So how are we gonna fix that?
You want this kid to grow up and trust police? You think that this kid is a kid that's going to trust police? 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they're going to be, you know, talking about, oh, where was the father at, and all these other things about why did this kid go astray? Why did this kid, get shot down dead by cops, unarmed? And it's going to be, oh, well, he skipped school a few times back and got kicked out, and he must have been a bad seed and got arrested for selling drugs, even though now those drugs are technically legal and are being sold by wealthy white people all across the country. And because of that, he deserved to be shot dead by police. Like, this is what these are the same kids, the same exact kids that we expect to somehow be well adjusted to grow up with a trusting, safe relationship with police. You can't community police or diversity train your way through this kind of trauma. You have to set up a system that never allows for this to occur in the first place. We can never allow people to ever come within 100 feet of a child that are this fucking incompetent and incapable of just basic human decency, that we should have been able to detect in a human being. And they don't pass the smell test on that in just 15 minutes of knowing these people.
If somebody tells you to sit down and shut up, any adult, you better sit down and shut up.
If somebody tells you to sit down and shut up, any adult, you better sit down and shut up.
So do you want this kid to not get kidnapped and trafficked, or do you? Because telling him to wantonly just obey any and every adult, regardless of if they mean them harm or if they know them, is not it doesn't track. It's not good advice.
And you've literally been told, if you don't listen to the advice of these people, you will be hurt. You will be physically hurt if you don't listen to the police and these people that are talking right now.
Berto is.
You're gonna go where Uncle Berto is, and you're gonna be hurt by the police, and you might get snatched and taken from your parents, and it will have been your fault. And that's what that's how they're this is what they're setting this kid up with, and this is what they just imagine the weight of that at 5 years old. 5 years old.
And we don't know, like, he could be being abused by one of the teachers, and that's why he doesn't feel safe and he leaves. So, like,
which adult has made him feel safe enough to tell him that, tell them that, which adult here?
He's never gonna feel safe talking to a cop, because this cop over here just asked him if he wanted his mom to let her beat him.
Yo, so and what he's teaching, what they're telling him is that the people that you're supposed to be told, the people that you're told that you need to call when you are in danger, the very people that you're told you need to call, you've already been told directly to your face by them that they are not there to help you, and in fact they condone any abuse and any violence that's being enacted upon you. That they've already told you to your face, you deserve it. Those very same people that you're told are the people that are supposed to protect you in that very situation. If you're being abused, call these people. How the hell is that kid ever going to feel safe calling the police when the police are the ones that he now associates with being even scarier than mom, even scarier than that?
Why?
If your teachers tell you to do something,
so they strict.
you better listen.
If your teachers tell you to do something, you better listen. What if your teacher's sexually assaulting
something at somebody else? Guess what's gonna happen when you get home?
Because everything.
Tell me what's gonna happen when you throw something at a
psychological torture.
His father's gonna be 60 years old and work
I'm listening.
full-time jobs.
What's gonna happen when you get home?
What's gonna happen?
Oh, you acting like you don't know how to act again?
And he's afraid.
Psychological
because he's
abuse.
saying, if I speak to him, I don't want the people to question.
With a handcuff
and then
on.
they think I'm abusing. Then I go to prison. I didn't come to America to work so hard to give him a good life and go to prison. You can't even discipline your kid.
That is a common misconception.
The honest truth. He doesn't belong here if he can't act right. If he can't treat them like humans.
Turn around.
He's hitting students. He's hitting teachers.
Turn around.
He's knocking computers on the floor.
This is you.
That's not behavior for children. That's beast.
And then you come.
Yo, so she just said that what he's doing by hitting people, by hitting other kids, by hitting people, by hitting kids and hurting property, she's said he's not even human. He's a beast. It makes him a beast again. She's called him a beast, and that hitting him and those behaviors is the behaviors that result in him not. She said, if you let me grab the quote real quick. She said sorry. He doesn't belong here if he can't treat them like humans, she says, seemingly referring to the teachers and possibly his peers as well, the other students in the classroom. And she says, if he can't treat, but definitely she appears to be referring to the teachers as well, because he's assaulted these teachers, these white people. And she says, if he doesn't belong here, referring to the school, if he can't treat them like humans. And the behavior that she's referring to as him not treating them like humans is him hitting people. So if hitting someone is treating them like they're not human, what message are you sending him as you sit here and simultaneously cheer on and encourage his mother and talk about how you want to hit him? So you're saying that he deserves to be hit, but being hit means you're not human. So you're saying you deserve to be treated not like inhumanely, like you're not a human. And so it's clearly dehumanizing, but you know, just totally glossed over and just unfortunately ironic of her to really have the audacity and just hypocritical really of her to say something like that.
Come to
He
my
needs to
room.
go to another school, and that's going to be another problem for you.
Yeah, she just wants this kid
I asked
gone.
him,
He
I'm
can't be
like,
around other people if
He can't be
hide.
around other people.
and it's like
You better get your stuff
So
together.
people that
3-4
hit people
days,
can't be
things
around other
good,
people, but
and then next thing you know,
everybody
you
here
know,
wants to
this
hit
is
him.
something. This is
And y'all kill
Put
people
yourself
for a
in their
living.
position.
So
I already
yeah,
know
Teacher,
where
if
should you be in
this
society?
5-year-old child hit you.
I already know it.
They
I'm
ain't
not
trying to lose their jobs.
Listen to me.
For
Think
one
you getting a
child.
Beyblade
Listen
today?
to me. I'm not.
You hear that? And she's like, you know, you know,
And this,
you-
hold on, this cop
she's-
is over here asking him if he's getting a Beyblade today. Like he's literally
Yo.
just torturing this
torture,
child.
like psychological torture. Like watch this exchange because there's two separate exchanges going
That
on
are
here,
both
which is why
fantastic.
there's actually almost 3 layered exchanges occurring in this that I had to replay this clip so many times when I was watching it because there's a conversation going on between the mother and the teacher, the mother and the female cop, and the male cop and the child, and they're overlapping conversations. And what the male cop is doing to the child the whole time is just psychologically tormenting this child the entire time in the background of all of this, as the mom is just not paying attention and is talking about how, you know, tips for how to better abuse her child with the cop and the teacher. And so, yeah, you got the cop over here saying that, you know, talking about how the kid's not getting the Beyblade. And let me pull just back a teensy bit just so I can remember.
They ain't trying to lose their jobs.
Listen
for,
to me.
For
Think
one
you getting a
child.
Beyblade?
See, and the female cop saying, you know, is defending the teacher, saying, you know, your child, if he puts them in a situation by your child, a 5-year-old, hitting an adult, that you're putting an adult in a situation where you can't expect them to not want to kick your child out of that
Yeah.
school because
No, not what you can't not expect them to not want to beat your child, because that's what
Exactly.
she's saying. You don't want them to lose their job because they lost their temper, their temper and accident, and you know, hit your
had to
kid.
whoop your kid's ass, you know, had to
You
beat
don't
that
want
ass.
them to have to lose their job because
Exactly.
of that. Because
Yo.
they had to discipline your little beast.
The grossness of the just like little capitalist undertones of, like, you know, the concern over property and jobs and people's jobs and property.
Again, I really like. I never hope that our video talking about someone reaches someone more than I hope that those 2 cops somewhere see this video and
Oh
just,
my god, yo!
like,
to know
I
how
hope
much
that you know you're fucking
you're
monsters.
you are
You're-
subhuman. But sadly,
Yeah.
they're not. They are human, and we should recognize that, like, this is what human beings are capable, and this is why it's so
Yes.
terrible. But like, if anybody is less than human, it's you pieces of fucking garbage, not this child who you said.
absolute disgust. Like,
Yeah, I think
abhorrent.
I think we're about to get like a amazing, not amazing, like a horrific quote out of the female cop soon. But before we do, we'll get to hear the male cop.
A starting revelation.
Yeah, just tormenting this kid about not getting his toy. All right.
Blade
Listen
today?
to me. I'm not ignorant.
You're not.
I'm not saying
No, I'm
But
just,
you're not
I'm just
getting it.
telling
Because
you.
you want to act
I'm
bad.
telling
You
you.
want
I'm not an
So your
ignorant
mom's
parent.
gonna take you home and fix that. for
Some
you, okay?
parents
Don't
come
worry
up
about it. She'll
here.
take care
I
of
mean,
that
not
for
up here. Some parents want to
She'll
fight
beat
the
that butt.
teacher for.
He's like, Mom. So don't worry. You're
Pat him
not,
on the stomach. Don't worry about it. She gonna beat that butt.
yeah, she gonna take care of that for you. You ain't getting that toy. You getting an ass whooping. You know. So you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You getting that ass whooping. You ain't getting that toy. All right, and you deserve that.
You don't know how to behave.
Because you don't know how to behave.
Huh? You like hitting adults?
I'm from the old school. I remember how my mother came.
You like hitting adults?
and brought us up.
You want to hit me?
You want to hit me?
Hit me. See what happens.
So
Yo,
I didn't
yo,
want to
you
lose
like-
my kid and then have to
Exactly.
go to jail. I'd
You're
rather
not
either
gonna do it.
lose him
Because you
and
know
I could stay home.
I'm not playing with
or I
you.
go
Yo,
to jail and I come home.
I'm
to
not
my
one of
kid.
these
I don't
teachers.
know what to do.
You don't hit
I
adults.
discipline my kid.
You don't
can't
hit
tell me
anybody.
as long as he's not
Nobody.
abused.
You
No
understand that?
marks on his
No
hand.
one.
Nobody can't
You
tell
don't
me
put
nothing.
your hands
Because guess
on
what?
anybody.
If I
You
don't
keep your
discipline
hands
him, I'm
to
still
yourself.
gonna get in trouble.
You
If he
understand
do
that?
something. So it's
Do
like,
you understand
what do
that?
I do?
And in order to make sure that you understand that and you don't do that, we're gonna keep putting our hands on you. We gotta keep putting our hands on you to teach you that lesson that you can't put your hands on another human being. We, the big, powerful, stronger adults, we have to put our hands on you, and we have to assault you so that you don't assault you little 5-year-old with all the strength you have as a 5-year-old. Don't hit another 5-year-old.
Who do you think's
or
gonna
an
do
adult.
more damage, a 5-year-old or this freaking piece of shit here?
Yeah, these people that are literally murder machines that kill for for on holiday. Like this is what these people doing. And these are the people that they're talking to this kid like he's the problem here.
You cannot tell me I can't discipline. Every time you call me, I discipline my kid.
Yeah.
He just don't have no marks.
And you
because I
told
don't
me
beat
that,
him with
and I never
objects.
told you not to.
But when
told me
the
that, I would
principal
never
tell
tell
me
you not
something
to.
different,
Yeah.
then
So this is the teacher saying, she's saying I beat my
long as
kid.
you don't
I
leave
just don't
marks.
leave marks.
Yep.
And
you
it's
tell me.
literally, again, let me just remind you, definition of child abuse in Maryland says it's child abuse if you physically assault your child, even if there are no marks visible. So it doesn't have to leave a visible mark. It's still child abuse. Yes, in the state of Maryland. And those cops are supposed to be the very people sworn to protect children from that. I'm sorry, but sorry, sad day, parents, but we're going to have to learn, and we're going to have to figure out a way to discipline our children without physically assaulting them. Sorry, sad day. Because what's the worst that can happen? Again, we're trying to protect everyone, keep everyone from being harmed. We can't harm somebody as an attempt to stop them from harming other people. Like it's like, that's not a realistic way. You can't do thought crimes against, do like a thought crimes division, like Minority Report stuff, where you like arrest people for things before they've actually committed a crime. Like, yeah, pre-crime type stuff. Like, it's like you gotta wait for somebody to actually transgress against another person, and until they do, there's no reason. If everybody follows that principle, then nobody will do harm to another person. And so that's how we have to instill our principles into kids. Otherwise, what are you teaching them? Everything that this kid has learned is the opposite of what they're saying. It's when people don't do what you want them to do, then it's okay to hit them. Especially if you're an adult, then it's really okay. When people do things that you don't want them to do, adults can hit children, and it's totally justified.
Ethiopian woman that was sitting here. I
It
said,
all
okay.
depends on the words that you used in that.
And I never used profanity.
They're giving her
I never
tips
said
on how to
any
get around
bullshit on
being.
you, and I never said I'm gonna beat you with a belt.
Mom, but listen, they're saying you can discipline your child.
Okay,
Because
so
you
now
even
hear
said
that?
it. You even said it. It's not
Yeah.
abuse.
It's not
There's a
abuse.
difference. There's a difference.
And I hope she does beat you when you go home,
Whoa.
because you deserve it so much for your actions today.
And
You were horrible. Don't you agree?
Yo,
Hello?
she just told this kid, I hope she does beat you when you go home, because you deserve it so much for your actions today. You were horrible. Don't you agree? Like, is that not some gaslighting stuff? I hope she beats you. I hope your mother beats you.
You were horrible. Don't you agree? Hello?
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
not
difference.
abuse.
There's a difference.
And I hope she does beat you when you go home, because you deserve it so much for your actions today.
And
You were horrible. Don't you agree? Hello?
to her. Yes or no?
The mother's backing up the cop now.
Yes or no?
Child cryingly says yes.
Cannot throw things at
I
your
promise
teacher.
Now the
you,
teacher's
if I live in
piling on.
Silver Spring, Montgomery County,
You
I live
cannot
with you
hit
for a
them.
weekend. You gonna call me back and say, "Girl, he could come back." He's not like this.
No, because he ain't gonna do that with me.
He's not gonna do it. He don't do it with me. He don't do it with none of my girlfriends, none of my neighbors, or none of my coworkers.
So you think you get to school and you can just do what you want?
So this
No.
kid, she just said he doesn't do it with all these other people. He doesn't behave this way, but he behaves that way at school. I wonder why. I wonder what's different. Maybe one, he's at school for hours and hours a day, hungry, which I really want to get to that part. So
Nobody.
that's coming up.
I went as far as trying to find a therapist But I'm
He don't
like,
need no therapist.
that's the same thing. I'm
He's
like,
bad. He's bad.
He's
Bad
not
today.
bad.
Oh,
So the mother, every attempt that and every suggestion that she has made about doing the
That's
actual right thing
yeah.
has been shamed, stigmatized, shamed, and discouraged by these cops. And every bad behavior has been encouraged and elevated and promoted and advocated for. So the mother just said, I even thought about getting him a therapist. So she said, I even tried to find him a therapist. So she never got him a therapist, sadly. So this kid never actually got evaluated by a mental health professional. So this kid's never actually been evaluated by a mental health professional, according to the mom here. And she said, but she was like, at least I tried to find him a therapist. And their response is, oh no, he don't need no therapist.
He's just bad.
Bad. He's just bad. Like a 5-year-old is just rotten to their core. A 5-year-old is just so innately, inherently bad and unfixable that there's no hope for him. A therapy's not going to help this child, even though therapy helps like mass murderers and serial killers can be helped by therapy. No, therapy's not going to help this kid. Anybody, I go to therapy. Everybody should go to therapy. As if therapy's not going to help this kid. Therapy helps, grown ass adults through all kinds of trauma. Why would a 5-year-old who's, less likely to be well adjusted and properly developed, why would they be expected to be able to heal and to do better and to grow without the help of a therapist as well? So just the wrong advice at every turn.
today because your demeanor and the way you are with him is totally different than the way they can be with him. Right, exactly. It's not therapy or anything like that.
I'm like, he don't. I'm wasting.
So what the cop is saying there is that, see, the problem is that you can beat him, but everybody else, we can't beat him. You see? And that's the problem, is that we need to be able to discipline him. Unfortunately, the only way that this kid is ever going to be able to do the right thing is if we're all able, every authoritative figure over him is given the ability and the permission and the authority to abuse this child. And only if he is physically abused can we stop him from, physically abusing other people.
It's so it seems so obviously wrong, but I don't know everything. So I don't know. Maybe we should test this to see. And y'all have done wrong here. So maybe someone should start by beating your ass and seeing if it corrects your behavior, Mr. Officer. Let's start the fuck there. All right. Someone beat your ass for this shit. And let's see if that corrects your behavior. Let's let you be the test case before we try it on a 5-year-old. Right. Oh, you don't want to do that? You don't think getting your ass beat is going to make you learn how to correctly do something? That's not great motivation for you. But you want to do it to a 5-year-old? Monsters.
Yeah, monsters, inhuman.
I'm taking time off from work for this. They're not going to see. They're going to say, if I take him to a therapist, they're going to say nothing wrong with him.
She just assumes if I take him to a therapist, they're going to say nothing's wrong with them. How do you know? You've never taken him to a goddamn therapist. Why don't you take that first step, please?
To be fair, again, with what we know about underdiagnosing and medical racism, like the chances that a poor Black woman would properly get services that she needs because you cut it off. Absolutely. You cut it off before she makes the point. Yes.
So, and that is absolutely correct. That the system
she
is
makes the point that she's like,
her.
I'm poor. She's like, I'm poor. They're gonna tell me they can't get money out of me. They're gonna tell me to go. There's nothing wrong
that
with
is a valid, exactly. If that's her point, and that is a valid, a valid critique of the system. To say that that is there's a chance that a better than what should be possible chance of her child facing that kind of medical racism and discrimination, but
you should still try it. I'm not saying again, as somebody who who uses therapy, who advocates majorly for therapy, the solution is to fix the racism in healthcare.
And everybody should be fighting and not do it. Exactly. The goal should then be, okay, we are aware that happens, so let's do this in a way that we guide the child through and protect them on the way through the medical system as well. Somebody's got to step up and say, it's my duty to protect this child and keep them safe. And so somebody's got to do that work. And it's the cops in this situation who were trusting as heroes and given all this power to, that are, if we're going to say that they have all the authority to murder people and that they don't deserve to be criticized for murdering people, then they have to get this shit right. All right.
Because it's places
And
we
he's
go.
smart.
Mommy don't have money. Mommy
And
don't
he's
have.
smart. So
They're
he
offering-
will act accordingly depending on who's around. Oh, I
Pause
already
it.
know that.
Yeah.
Pause it. Like, which is even worse because the mother's point was that, like, mom's poor, so they'll probably tell me anything, so I'll buzz off because they can't make money off it. The cop then flipped that and was like, no, he's a little criminal mastermind who's going to say whatever he needs to manipulate the therapist to appear like a normal child and then continue his reign of terror. She's making him sound like fucking Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Like, that is the level of nefariousness that you were prescribing to this child. You literally say, oh no, he's smart. He's smart. He'll fake it. He'll know just what to say to get the all clear from and that's what these, and that is a lot how a lot of these cops look at these situations. They think, oh, this addict is a low life. He's just gonna say he's got an addiction or a problem and needs help and services to get out from accountability and to get out from being disciplined. That's how they approach all of this. You know, when they say, oh, loosen the handcuffs, they're hurting my hand. They're like, oh no, you just want an easy break. You don't want me to rough you. They always think people are just making excuses or trying to, you know, and I understand, I guess, because like people do lie to the cops. I wonder fucking why, because they lie back and try to get everybody on trumped up charges or charges that don't even apply to them, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah. I can understand why people lie to the cops, but because of that, they're in this weird sense of paranoia where everyone must be trying to get one over on them, including a 5-year-old boy, to the point where she says, oh, the therapists are not going to be able to help you. He's just going to go in and and put on a front so they say he's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got this kid all figured out at age 5, and the conclusion is he's hopeless, helpless, and you know he's going to wind up in those handcuffs and in a in that prison system one way or another. So we might as well just scoot him on in there a little bit faster. Let's just speed it on up, expedite this process. Yeah, this little beast.
So while I'm at the school, the police is here.
So this is just her talking to one of her friends on the phone, and I'm gonna speed through.
The school property again, and was fighting the teacher and the students.
I thought this was the father.
Y'all don't believe it. Y'all keep saying.
Do you see how embarrassing this is?
Y'all don't believe that. Y'all don't believe it. Y'all blaming the school. I keep telling y'all.
Do you see how embarrassed your mother is because of your behavior?
I'm gonna call you right back.
Blaming it on, you see how embarrassed your mother is because of your behavior. All concerned about embarrassing.
Pride and embarrassment.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're talking about a child succeeding in life.
Yeah, yeah. Like we have to. There's so much work to be done to destigmatize these kinds of things. And this is why we talk about changing this whole system. It's not, there's not an individual solution here. It's not about giving these cops diversity trainings or sensitivity trainings or anything like that. It's about ensuring that the people called to situations like this in the first place are not trained, police, because these are not people that are equipped to handle situations of drug addiction, homelessness, child safety. Like, they are not equipped for it and should not be called to those situations. For mental health assessments and evaluations and protection should never be called. A person with a gun should not be the first person to show up.
And as we've learned here from, this woman accidentally dry snitching on her friends from CPS in New York, who should also all lose their job. I hope they track down all of the CPS workers in New York. Y'all all need to go. But as we've also seen from them, the people who don't carry badges and are entrusted to take care of and protect children, even there's still a chance that even they'll get it wrong. That even they will advocate for and or abuse children. Yeah. But it will be dramatically lower than the odds that these gun-carrying thugs that we call the police will.
Absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. And that's the best that we can do, is just try to reduce the risk for everyone in society, right? We're just trying to reduce the risk and keep everybody as safe as possible. And you know, the way we advocate is by you know, not putting people, it's protecting the cops as well, so they don't got to be put into situations that they can't handle either, and get into, you know, situation where they might harm somebody that didn't deserve to be harmed, and therefore go to jail. Not that they actually ever that ever happens to them, sadly, but you know, that they might face those kinds of consequences. You want to avoid that happening as well. You just don't want those situations to occur. And so we're saying, you know, for everybody's sake involved, we need to stop expecting police to be the one size fits all solution to every single problem in our society. Stop calling the cops for every little thing that goes wrong.
They
Cops
already aren't correctly handling the one thing they should be handling. Why are we entrusting them with more?
Absolutely. Violent crime should be the only situations, like violent crime should be the only situations where, you know, with adults committing violent crimes, where, you know, where we have these other adults that come in and have all this authority and have guns to be the first responders. I'm not saying that people can't respond after that. The first responders to a situation shouldn't be these untrained professionals. It should be specialists that can go there, that work with the target, you know, person or group, and know how to handle that situation, and are equipped to handle that situation in a de-escalatory fashion. And everything that these cops did from the outset was escalate in a way that was just completely unnecessary, like cops are just so famous for doing. I want to get to the part where we hear about the mother talking about this child's nutrition situation too, so hopefully, I think that's coming up soon.
Because he's sweet. When he's not doing this,
Yes,
he's sweet.
no.
I know that.
Use your words.
Sweet side.
He's a very sweet kid.
But here's the thing: when you're at home, your expectations and what you have to do with the child is totally different than at school.
This is a weird exchange here I'll play. I didn't quite catch what went on here, but this is the teacher says something to the mother that's a little bit, you know, like I would take some slight exception to, you know, just the way that she's framing it is like, oh, this is all on you and your fault, and you're not disciplining your child enough so that they understand. And she's framing it that way. But then some interaction happens between what I believe is the mother and the female cop, where there's some sort of interaction here where they seem to be laughing a bit jovially, you know, sort of maybe poking fun at one another, honestly. And the mother says, jokingly, it appears, she's laughing and says, I'll fight you, you know, and seemingly jokingly, which again, sending mixed signals to this child about.
Oh, I think this is the part where they're talking about if the child hit another child, like what you would do if it was your child.
That's coming up. Yes, that's coming up. So yeah,
I thought this was that.
Oh, let me.
Oh.
So I'll pull it back a little bit more. Sorry.
Sweet. When he's not doing this,
Yes.
sweet.
No.
I know that.
Use
He
your
has a very
words.
sweet side. And
He's
when
a
you're
very sweet kid.
But here's the thing: when you're at home, your expectations and what you have to do with the child are totally different than
I'm
at
gonna fight
school.
you. Oh.
I'm gonna fight you, and starts laughing.
Oh. I'm gonna fight you.
I see where she came from because I grew up getting my butt.
Oh. Listen,
You know,
my mama was street. They named the phone after me, the white extension cord after
I had a
me.
saxophone.
Got
I orange
immune to it. You know what was the worst? Tupperware. You know when your mama baked the cake and brought the cake over the Tupperware.
talking about the
bowl
weapons,
to carry
comparing
the cake.
weapons their parents
Yes,
would
switch.
use to.
My mother didn't play.
Hip
She'll
hop.
tell you.
Infamous switch. The
It was
infamous
BCW
switch.
when we were coming up. Call BCW, CPS, and when they come, let them take all of y'all because I'm tired. But now I understand some kids are being abused
Yeah.
at home.
Right, but there's a
and
difference.
to the point where they're hurt.
Yes,
right.
That's
so it's
that's
like,
that.
all right, I'm constantly. This is my oldest son. I've never had no problem with him until now, 22 years old. Public school, junior high school, Blair. That's when he started. But after a while, never disrespectful to me, never disrespectful to none of my neighbors. Very good kid. But when he in the street, he in the street.
See, and now she's saying that her 22-year-old was a good, well-disciplined kid, she says, until he got older and out of her direct control. And then she's saying at 22 now, he's now getting into trouble, which is like showing you that all of she was like, because I was able to beat him and not worry about, child protective services, he was an okay kid up until he was 22. Is that what we're aiming for? To have a kid that's decent until as soon as they get out from under your thumb, that they're then going to rebel against that and then, lose all of any sort of ability to behave, in a socially acceptable way? that's not an acceptable goal. That shouldn't be the outcome that we're looking for. So if your 22-year-old son is acting out, maybe it's to do with the fact that he was beaten his whole damn life, and now he's finally able to not to live in a way that he's, without that consequence, and he doesn't know how, safe ways to prevent and guard against committing dangerous behaviors or risky behaviors.
You understand me?
Well,
Never
curb that
had-
one, because
this
this one is
one-
headed that way early.
Fast.
This one
He
is
taking
different. I
express
think it's because
train.
the father is old. Because I don't know who sent. Anybody asked 16 years later, you had a kid? Girl, I don't know who sent me. Him, because he's the sweetest kid in the world. Get anything.
He's not doing this craziness. He is amazing.
Very sweet. Last night I'm cooking dinner. Mommy, do you need me to help you with dinner? Very sweet. Goes everywhere. Every weekend. I'm old. I'm tired. I ran the streets. I want to get home. I want to go home from work. Very sweet kid. Taking places, do things with him. Disney, museums, everything.
Well, until you act accordingly, there are no toys. You're not getting any toy today.
Again, threatening the kid.
You don't believe that you earned the toy today, do you?
This is like an hour of
We take
just
him
torture
downtown to
for this
blow
kid.
some more. We do everything. That's
Hello.
that's what he get from his father. He's
Hello.
Shut down. This is
Cannot.
dinosaur exhibits, everything.
But when is asked to do things and doesn't want to do them, that's where we have a problem. And school asks very different things than what parents ask for their children.
Mm-hmm.
We're asking him to sit. We're asking him to stay quiet, not watching TV. And so the expectations of school are different. And when he's asked to sit down in a chair to get a snack and doesn't want to, he attacks people.
There's no way. There's no way.
That's
Yeah,
a
they
female
asked.
cop.
Like he has a feeding situation. I had weight loss.
Here she's going to talk about the nutritional issues. So she said, this is the mother talking, and she says he has a feeding situation. She said, she's saying I had weight loss surgery here. So she's going to talk about the kids, nutritional situation here now. This is important, I think. So listen up.
Then they asked, like he has a feeding situation.
A feeding
I had
situation.
weight loss surgery. So he was high risk. I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant.
So she was pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant, and she had a weight loss surgery. So she says that due to that, this kid is now high risk for some sort of what she called a feeding situation.
So he's never ate solid foods. Every day, now he's starting it like he lived off of Pediasure. Now,
So she's saying this kid is 5 years old, and he's pretty much never eaten solid foods up into the age of 5, that he's pretty much lived off of Pediasure up until the age of 5 and doesn't eat and eats almost no solid foods. All right. So that's the kind of diet that this kid has. All right.
now he's starting to tolerate. Now he eats chicken nuggets only. So breakfast time, he's not going to eat breakfast. I have
So she's like, breakfast time, he only eats chicken nuggets. So breakfast time, he's not going to eat breakfast. So this is
food in my house. I'm not denying him food. I'm big. I got a big son. We all eat.
She's like, we're all eating. I'm not denying him food at the house, but he's not eating breakfast. He doesn't eat breakfast. He only eats chicken nuggets apparently, and can't eat breakfast then. And this is a kid who's now going into school. Then that means without eating breakfast, not eating solid foods for certain, but possibly not eating any breakfast. So you have a child going to school, not having eaten any breakfast, gets into the middle of the day and is, just waiting desperately for this snack because they're starving and they're being treated like you wanting that, you having the audacity to be hungry and want food and expect food when you're hungry. You deserve abuse for that. You deserve to be abused for having the audacity of just feeling hunger. That's what you're teaching the kid.
He just don't want to eat.
He just don't want to eat.
Lunchtime,
Just don't want to eat.
dinner time.
Well, I can honestly tell you that if it keeps going in this direction, he ain't gonna be at this school much longer.
So I think that's really like
The
the bulk of what I wanted to show. I think that
become
really,
a juvenile, he ain't gonna be in these streets too much longer either.
they're just wishing him the worst. And pretty much wraps up from here.
Well, Mama, I understand.
Oh, this is a funny conclusion.
We're reiterating. You
Reiterate.
can't beat your child.
You can beat your
in
child
Montgomery County.
In front of him and everybody else, you can beat him.
in front of the cops and
Please
everybody
don't
else.
leave no cuts.
And please do.
Or no crazy cigarette burns or nothing like that.
Just-
We good. All right. Meeting adjourned.
Just don't leave no cuts or no crazy cigarette burns, and you can do whatever you want to these kids. All right, and that's coming from the law enforcement, Montgomery County, Maryland. All right, beat them however you want them. Beat them if you got them. All right, so that's it. I mean that wraps that video. It plays out for another minute or so, but they're just exiting the room and stuff, and like the mom and the lady cop give each other dap, and they're really jovial. You know what? I'll play it. I'll let it play.
Enjoy yourself today when you get that whoop.
I'll turn.
It got so bad today.
The guy cop is still threatening the little kid. Enjoy yourself today when you get that whooping, he said. Enjoy yourself today when you get that whooping.
Or no crazy cigarette burns or nothing like that. We good. All right. Meeting adjourned.
So
Enjoy yourself today when you get that whoop.
Enjoy yourself when you get that
so bad today. She's recommending 2 days of suspension.
So the kid they're saying is now going to be suspended for 2 days.
The attack on the teacher
After-
and the 2 students in the classroom.
But again, then I ask, is there any way that y'all can find like another school or anything?
I think we have a meeting tomorrow, right? Our meeting's tomorrow for planning, and I think we need to look at another teacher. If no other reason, in my personal opinion, than to give her and those other kids a break, because today was a lot. The video is.
The teacher had to make all the kids put their head down and hands over their head so he don't strike them or throw nothing at them. That is enough.
And I can't promise what's going to happen, but we have to try.
And if
that's
he
my
hit my
opinion.
kid,
Oh, his mama fighting though.
girl, we both will. Girl, if you need you.
Girl, I don't know if you want to try this one.
Girl,
As a police
So-
officer,
my baby,
and I was in the Marine Corps.
my baby, he hit my
You know, I keep telling people we only die once, and jail is for humans. Because whether he right or wrong, I'm still not gonna let nobody hurt him and not see justice or die for mine.
So here she is saying that if somebody else hits him, if anybody else hits him, then she whether he's right or wrong, she says if somebody else puts a hand on him, then she'll fight that person, even if they're a cop. She says even if it means her death.
It's sick cognitive dissonance. It's sick that you're not.
I'm the only one that can keep you safe, but I abuse. It's that.
I'm the only one that can keep you safe. I'm the only one that can abuse you.
Yeah. That's a really scary, frightening situation to sit a 5-year-old child in. And I'm not trying to say, my I don't think that this parent should necessarily like lose her child or anything. That's not the result that I think, because I don't think that the system that's out there is necessarily better. I think that parent was seemingly being told some of the right things and was seemingly trying to enact some of those safer, healthier measures, but is being discouraged by the very people that are empowered and entrusted to, protect kids and keep kids safe. And so it's a really frightening and dangerous mixed signal that's being sent to the mom, and she's getting, she seemed to be getting good advice from outside forces and outside sources, and even friends who were suggesting that maybe she changed schools because maybe the school's an issue, and her response is like, oh no, it's not the school, it's got to be him, it can't be the school, even though she says that he acts good, he's well behaved around neighbors, co-workers, and everyone else except for school, but therefore she then somehow concludes that the problem must be him still, not the school, even though was apparently able to be well behaved everywhere else except for this school. And again, I would just posit that it's because he's spending so many hours at school, likely hungry most days, and is just a cranky hungry 5-year-old kid, and throws a temper tantrum and doesn't deserve to have cops called on him, be threatened, tortured, harassed, verbally
and if he had
abused.
Medicare for all, he could probably go to a hospital and
Exactly.
get properly treated and figure out what's going on with him not eating.
Yep, and that's what with Bernie's improved Medicare for all plan that he put forward, that bill would cover mental health services as well. And it's crucial that we treat mental health like every other bit of physical health. I don't know why the health of our brain would be any less important than the health of any other body part, when our brain's kind of an important part of our body, just a wee bit.
Because we don't need therapy. People are just bad.
Yeah, apparently, 5-year-olds, they're just innately bad. You can run a test that you can apparently run in 15 minutes. It took the cop about a minute, or not even, like 30 seconds in on the
and
kid.
knew that this kid was a
he was
lost
hostile.
cause. He just looked at him like a lost cause.
Yeah.
And just like the worst part is I just need to I have to read from ABC News the response.
Oh yes.
That the Montgomery,
feel free to put it up there.
Yes, let me
yeah, so this is from the Fraternal Order of Police, I believe, this quote. And so this is the organization, sort of like the cops, like is it like the cops union, the Fraternal Orders of Police, or I think they might be like cop unions, or probably. I believe so.
Let's see. So hopefully y'all can
zoom in on that if you can a bit, but yes. Don't worry, I'll teach Kwame how to be a pro eventually, y'all.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's this Apple. It's this Apple.
Yeah. Command plus. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, nice.
So it says the Montgomery County Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 35 also released a statement. It is clear that the event and everything that has come after the event should have been handled better by all involved. It is important to note that unless an officer is assigned to a specialized unit, Montgomery County police officers do not receive training on how to effectively communicate with a young child in distress.
Wow. So he's just like, sorry, guys, not our job, even though we're the ones that are literally being called to do that job. Sorry, but we don't train these cops, and we don't send cops that are specialized cops on how to deal with children. We just send out whatever old unit, and sorry, we didn't have anyone specialized trained.
It's even worse than that. It's actually even worse than that, because like you don't need special training to know that this kind of stuff isn't okay. And if you need special training to teach you not to deal with kids or anyone like this, you shouldn't be dealing with the public.
Nope. Absolutely not. Absolutely
working
not.
with kids, working with the public, working with other people, the room, there's such smaller room for error.
And those are the people that I would seriously, like, if you're listen, what I'm advocating for is those are the people that should be paid the most. Like, we need to start paying teachers and social workers and, mental health professionals. And the police, once we fix the policing system and we have people that are tasked with protecting us from violent crimes, because I do think that we're going to need a organization of people that are tasked with that and have the responsibility. They just need to be accountable and democratically controlled. But when we do have that, those should be the people in society, the people that we're trusting with the safety of children and the behavioral and mental development of children should be some of the highest, amongst the highest paid members of our society and the most revered members of our society. If we're about family values, if the right wing claims to be about family values, or we say we care about the children, how can you claim to care about the children and not make sure that the people that are responsible for the children are properly compensated so that they are at their absolute best whenever they're in these situations? They're not overworked and underpaid and dealing with additional stresses on top of that, so that they're not even able to be there, support them fully and support the people that they're tasked with supporting and be able to have that capacity for that. So these are people that's why we advocate for paying people dignified living wages and paying social workers the way that we're paying engineers right now, and realizing the value of the work that they do, and also realizing the value of care work in general, like just parenting, and the need to make sure that parents are not so financially strained that they can't do the things to have the time and the patience, because we need parents to have more patience than they're asking their children to have. Like all these parents and all these adults were telling him telling his child he needed to have better patience, and while not showing any patience or restraint themselves. And so, yeah, I think that's unfair.
And teachers, social workers, y'all got to start snitching on each other, man. Like, if we're going to be out here putting our necks out there trying to cape for you to get paid better and for deservedly so. Y'all need to turn in the rotten apples, like for real, because like in the same breath we say all of that, but this woman just said that she has friends at CPS that not just beat their kids but advise beating their kids and coach people how to beat their kids without, you know, without getting caught. So y'all gotta, like, if you're in this and you genuinely care about kids, you need to kick those people the hell out. Same thing for teachers. If you're a teacher and you know your colleagues do the fuckery we just witnessed in this video, they gotta go. You gotta do
you're talking about
everything in your power to
endangering
get
children's
them
lives
the
and
hell
safety
out of here.
Yeah,
Get them the hell out. There are certain jobs, if you work at, there's certain jobs you can have where you can fuck up. This is not one of them. This is absolute. I worked at AT&T. If I fucked up, the worst I might do is cancel your line, and you maybe got to get a new number. This woman cannot get a new child once they're killed and or traumatized and abused.
Yeah,
that's just not how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fucking frustrating that even has to be said. But yeah, these are, you know, these were the people. And that the crazy thing is, the other thing on this is that, you know, people talk about cancel culture. If you want to talk about cancel culture, you want to see cancel culture in here. The only person I see being canceled in here, it's not the teachers that we're saying, you know, need to be taken out of a position of authority over children because they've shown and proven that they're not able to protect the children that they're responsible for. That's not the cancel culture. You know, the cancel culture is the children that you're canceling by this kid that you're canceling by suggesting that this kid needs to be dismissed from school, expelled from school. That's the real cancel culture going on here, not whatever it's happening to Mr. Potato Head or Dr. Seuss. This type of cancel culture happens every day all across the country to poor, you know, people that don't have the benefit of having the whole thing recorded on video and exposed in this way and have the publicity around it. This is happening every day all over the world and all over the country to poor kids, to Black, brown, indigenous, Latino, you know, immigrant kids. So we see that you know, this we can't let this behavior go unchecked in that way or whatever, and we gotta call attention to it in that way and show it for what it is and expose it for what it is, because this is the real cancel culture. And the real cancel culture is, you know, the cancellation of all the kids that stand to be harmed by leaving those people in place. You know, you leave those dangerous people that create those unsafe conditions for children, and you're going to create the situations and the conditions for those children to end up, you know, slipping through the cracks and being harmed and being more vulnerable and being victimized, or, you know, harming other people because they're not taught properly and they're not kept safe, and harm it could come to them by leaving these people in place. So that's the real, you know, you can't be expected. We can't have a society where you're allowed to keep your job even if your job harms other people. Like, we have to draw the line at, does your job directly harm others? And we can't be like, oh, we're so worried about like what's going to happen to all of the, you know, the concern can't be like, oh, we're going to put should we not have advanced to you know, vehicles because we would put the train drivers out of, you know, or the you know, steam engine, whatever, people out of work, whatever, or should we not move to clean energy because we're going to take away jobs that are in, you know, dangerous energies that are unsafe jobs with unsafe working conditions. If the thing is just about, you know, oh, we have to, you know, I know we want to make sure that we keep those people whole, and we should honor those people. And if you do a job that eventually we decide, you know, as a society and democratically decide, hey, this job isn't practical anymore because it doesn't make it endangers other people's lives by the nature of it existing, like mining coal and gas and oil, then we can, you know, help those people transition in a safe way where they have a safety net and they're not. I don't want those people to suffer because of it. I don't want them to feel like they have to work and to be a dignified human being. But if they do feel that way, I want them to have all the access to everything they need. But we can't think that, oh, we should allow other jobs to exist. They do this one with the health insurance and Medicare for all, and they're like, oh, are we going to take away all those jobs from the insurance company? It's like, why would we leave a job in place that's literally hurting people just to protect one one set of people when it's
They
like we can
get
get them
new
other jobs.
And
Yeah.
if they don't want to get new jobs because they just desperately need to hurt people that badly, then I think maybe that, you know, there are other people that we may be concerned. We should be more concerned with, like, the people they're hurting.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you're like, we have a lot of things that we are owed as human beings, that we have a right to. Your ability to hurt people or destroy this world is not a right.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
You have a right to make a living, but not make a living destroying others.
Yep. It was, that seems like a basic principle there, but sadly it apparently isn't. So I think that's all, pretty much all I got to say on that. I mean, I think that was an interesting little walkthrough, and
this was a terrible time. I'm not coming back on this show anymore. You just subjected me to hours of oh my god, this was bad. This was bad.
And the reason that it's important to do this, and exactly, and Kwame's a dad, you know, and like the reason that it's important to do this stuff and to sort of go through this practice and actually sit there and take yourself through this entire video is because to hear it secondhand too much, it doesn't give you the full impact of it. When you're just hearing it secondhand, you're not seeing it for yourself to really see and try to empathize with this child. Put yourself in this child's shoes as a 5-year-old you, and what do you expect a 5-year-old you in that situation? Did 5-year-old you know not to hit another person? Like, you just knew that at 5. You knew that cops had to be obeyed at all costs, anything they say, even if what they're saying might make you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. What if a cop is sexually abusing somebody? It's happened. We were literally going to cover a story. We were supposed to cover a story about a cop who was raping a child who he was, tasked with trying to guide through like social services and all that. You know what I'm talking about, right, Kwame? Like, you remember the story that we were supposed to cover that we didn't get a chance to cover. And so
I think it was, and there was one where the person was coming back from like getting a rape kit
yes, he was the person that was supposed to like take her to get he took her to get her rape kit. The same cop that took this child to get a rape kit done is the same cop that later raped this child multiple times. So
raped them,
yes, groomed and raped this child. So the idea that you can just tell a child that there's any authority figure where they should just obey them at all costs, no matter what happens, you do as they say, no matter what, is unsafe. And we cannot expect, we cannot teach children that.
A lot of grown adults just bend the knee to any form of authority and think that cops should be allowed to wantonly. So, like, do we really expect any different from people who routinely say if you weren't resisting, you wouldn't have died?
But this is why we have to teach this out. Why we have to, teach this out of children and make sure that they never learn these behaviors, because that's what it grows into. Is they're the people that end up saying that, oh, you deserved what you got because you didn't obey authority. When the reality is the authority justified? Is what we should always be asking ourselves. Authority needs to justify itself, and if it can't justify itself, it needs to be dismantled. That authority is not justifiable, and it should not exist. And so, you want to say, I have authority to stop my child from running into the streets as an adult. Yes, you have the authority to stop them, physically have to restrain them if it's preventing them from going into harm's way. Yes, if it's direct and obvious in that way. But that doesn't mean that gives you just ability to do whatever you want and treat this child however you want, in just in case something might go wrong. You have to be physically abusive or violent towards them. So this was
I wish I could say that I had fun tonight, or that I was happy to join you, but I was not happy. This was miserable, but we got to do it. This is we got to do it. And if we're gonna do it, I'd rather it be with all of you lovely people to help me get through watching this.
And process. Yep, absolutely.
I've watched a lot of horror movies that are banned here, and this was a rough one.
Yep, absolutely. So sadly, you know, I wish more people, you know, please, if you know, you haven't done so already, help us out by sharing this video out, you know, hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, share this out. We really need people just aren't being recommended our videos on YouTube. YouTube just doesn't recommend our videos to new people essentially. So we are just struggling to get traction because if nobody knows that the video's out there, they can't click it, they can't find it, they don't know to look for us. We're not that big of a platform yet, but we should be getting more traction based on having, you know, nearly 1,500 subscribers. You would think that we could get more than 10 people into a live stream when we have 1,500 subscribers. You would think so. I think that would be a safe assumption. So but YouTube just is suppressing our content, and so we need your help sharing this out and helping to spread the word. So please hit the share button, spread the word on social media, and thank you to everyone who has done that. And we see you and we appreciate it. Shout out to What Up America, and for, you know, they helped us with the theme music too, Plasmon on SoundCloud, and all of our you know, and What Up there says just remind y'all all to like the stream and share on your social media. So thank you. Yes, appreciate that. Really deeply appreciate that. What Up? And so, and What Up says just rejoin Patreon for both you and Kwame and Tim Black. Hope we can overcome the algorithm. Dope. That's awesome. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. What Up? So thank you from all of us. And I'll pass that word along to Tim as well. So, and let him know we support in every way we can. So yeah, this is, you know, we try to cover these important stories and try to bring you the important news. Sadly, these stories, you know, people don't, these aren't trendy things. So, but we got to do this work because it's important work still. And so even if it doesn't trend, we're committed to doing this work because we know it's important and valuable to try to analyze these situations and see and try to spread the word. And these people that are sort of, you know, so faithful to police and have no understanding of the actual, you know, behaviors and practices of the police that they defend. Really, I just implore them to watch these sorts of situations play out and ask themselves what is the solution that they would offer to make sure that everyone stays safe and protected in this. And if your answer is, oh, just throw this kid in jail or in foster care, that's not the solution. That's not the answer. It's, you know, oh, let's go make them slave labor, you know, in the prison system is a really shitty solution if that's your solution. So I want a better world than that. And that's what we're working for here. So thank you to everyone who supports and who showed up and engaged. And thanks for all the comments. We're hitting the 3-hour mark. And I think we've sort of, you know, we popped up comments as we gone. But if Super Producer Tammy thinks that there's anything that we need to address, we certainly can. Thank you to everyone for commenting tonight. It's just that it's gone so long. I don't think that anyone wants to listen to us drone on any longer. So what do you think, Kwame? I think that if Super Producer Tammy wants to throw up any comments that are necessary, Tammy says, I think we're all set. So thank you to everyone for commenting. Shout out to Oshi Fancy on Twitch. I got to do better at saying what's up to people midstream. And so I don't leave y'all hanging because I do see y'all and I appreciate all the enthusiasm and energy and really appreciate y'all being here with us and hanging out and just talking through these wild stories. And all right, so thank you to everyone. Casey's Fun Channel for commenting, and Flash Flood Area, What Up America, Tammy, Oshi Fancy, Raniel Tavares. Sorry. All right. I think that's everyone, I believe. Oh, the Ultimate Being 01's commentary. So thank you to everyone who commented tonight. And if you have any other thoughts and you're not here live, please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. We read every single comment. We try to respond to everyone that we can that warrants a response, but we definitely read every comment. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below, what you agree with, what you disagree with. Just, you know, tell us how annoying we are or terrible we are, or just let us know how much you hate all cops because they're all bastards. I always appreciate that. So thank you to everyone for joining us today. Thank you to Kwame for guest hosting here with me, 3 hours strong. Thank you. I can't keep you here any longer, brother. I think we can peace on out.